determination, endurance. It lies within your fanny pack. And Liquid IV Hydration is packed with 3 times the electrolytes and jam-packed with real flavor. Liquid IV, real hydrating.
Find your someone at silversingles.com today.
Have you ever done a science experiment and wondered what it'd be like if you did it big? I have. My name is Phil, and I take your everyday science experiments and do them big. This is Science Max, experiments at large. Science Max! This episode of Science Max is all about liquids. What makes something float or not float?
Oh no! My loonies!
Liquid density and super absorbent gel.
Who wants to do an experiment with diapers?
Liquids. Today on Science Max, experiment at large. Hey, welcome to Science Max, experiments at large. I'm Phil McCordick, and hold on a second, I'm just gonna change. Okay, that's better. Now, where were we? Oh, right. Let's go make a boat. So you know that some things float and some things sink, like rocks, or wood, or full water bottles and empty water bottles, or carrots, foam, waffles, screwdriver, playing cards, plasticine, tinfoil, potato, my watch. Wait, that wasn't supposed to go in there. So how do you make a boat? You make it out of something that floats, right? Well, most boats are actually made out of metal. Tinfoil is metal and, well, it sinks. But if you fold tinfoil into a boat shape, it floats. And boats don't only float themselves, but they can hold people and cargo. In fact, there's container ships crossing the ocean at this very moment that are holding thousands of tons of cargo, and they're all made of metal, which doesn't float, it sinks. So how do boats do it? Are they magic? No, of course not. Boats are science. And here, you can be science maximites. Get some tinfoil and cut it into the same size pieces and fold a couple different shapes of boats and see which one can hold the most weight before sinking. And now it's time to max it out. But before we do, here's how you can fold your own tinfoil boat in less than 15 seconds. First, take a square piece of tinfoil, then fold it in half. Fold one corner down and the other corner down. Then open it up and ta-da, you're done. I have a feeling I'm gonna need a few extra lab coats for this experiment. Like I was saying, let's max out the tinfoil boat and find out a little bit more about why boats float. Okay, well, I'm here at an indoor pool, which is not, I wasn't expecting to be in the pool just yet, but this is where we're gonna build our giant tinfoil boat, so why not? Huznia.
Oh, Phil, you're wet.
I thought I was gonna come in over there, but I came in on the water sled. I think I had the coordinates wrong. Anyway, this is Huznia, and she's from Let's Talk Science, which is all about science education, right?
Yes.
Just like us. So you're gonna help me max out the tinfoil boat. I think I dropped it in the water. Hold on. Whoa! Here, where? There it is. The tinfoil boat. The tinfoil boat.
Phil, this is a boat?
Well, it looked a lot better before I came down the water slide, but that's the idea, and then we make it bigger. What do you think?
I don't think it's gonna work, Phil.
Oh, well, why not?
tinfoil is very thin, and it might not hold the shape of the boat.
Well, I still think we should use tinfoil, though.
Why?
Well, because the small experiment was tinfoil, and I bought all of this tinfoil.
Then let's do it.
Tinfoil? Okay, high five. I'll take the tinfoil, and you take that, and I'm gonna have to dry off at some point.
Welcome to Shipbuilding for Pirates. I'm Swubby, and I've built some of the finest pirate ships for some of the finest pirates this side of the Caribbean. And I can teach you to do the same. But first, you need to know your basics. Mass and volume. Let's start with volume! But not that kind of volume. Which of these two chests do you think has more volume? Right, this one here. Which of these two balloons do you think has more volume? Right, this one here. Volume is how much space something takes up. Which of these two chests has more volume? That's right, they're the same. But which of these two chests has more mass? Which is heavier? Hard to tell, isn't it? But what if I told you that this one was empty and this one was full of treasure? Oh, loonies. Now, which one has more mass? That's right, this one. These two chests have the same volume, but this one has more mass. This chest has more volume than that one, but this one... My loonies! That chest does not have as much mass. Volume is how much space something takes up, and mass is how heavy something is. And when you look at them both together, you're looking at density. Join us next time on Shipbuilding for Pirates, and then we'll look at how volume, mass, and density work together to make something float. Oh, my precious, precious loonies. Are you all right, my pretties? They can't talk, so I'm not sure what they're saying.
So, Husni and I get to work constructing a large tinfoil boat. Our first design is just sort of a square, folded together out of a very large sheet of tinfoil. Simple, but can I ride in it?
There we go. A giant tinfoil boat, just my size.
I don't know if it's gonna work. It's too thin.
You think it's too thin?
I feel like yes.
Well, what should we do?
Do you want to test it?
Let's test it. Okay, good idea. So here's the most important question. Do you want to test it or should I test it?
No, you test it.
All right, here we go. Putting it in. First test, does it float on its own? Yeah! Floats on its own, no problem. If I just get in very carefully, then it will work fine. See, if I'm careful about how I get in, no, it's fine. See, if I just get in like that.
Bill, are you okay?
Wait a minute. It's sort of, no, that's just air. You know what went wrong? It wasn't boat-shaped. I think if we make it look more like a canoe, because canoes float, if we make it look like a canoe, it'll work great.
No, Phil. We need some support. If we add a couple of structures in between, then we add support to it.
I'll tell you what. Let's make a boat like I want to make and a boat like you want to make, and we'll see whose is the best.
That's a good idea. Okay, let's do that.
All right, let's do it.
Welcome back to Shipbuilding for Pirates. I'm Swubby, and now we know what volume means, what mass means, and that together it can tell you something's density. Now let's find out why things float. Let's say we're out to sea and my treasure chest gets swept overboard. Oh no! But it's all right. It floats because it pushes enough water out of the way, displaces it to carry its mass. But what if my treasure chest had more treasure in it? Well, we're giving it more mass, but not more volume. Too much mass and not enough volume, and it will sink. Oh no! My loonies! You need more volume if you want to float more mass. And that is why things float. I'm Swubby, and thanks for joining me on Shipbuilding for Pirates.
So, the first version of the tinfoil boat didn't work out too well.
Like that.
But my idea is to build a tinfoil boat more like a canoe to see if a different shape makes any difference.
Tinfoil canoe!
Very Canadian.
Very Canadian. The canoe part, anyway. I don't know about the tinfoil part. So, Husni and I had a bit of a disagreement of why the last boat didn't work. I thought it was because it wasn't shaped enough like a boat. So this one looks like a canoe.
What I thought is that it requires some
Structure so that it wouldn't fall.
Right.
And we'll see how it goes.
All right.
All right. Did it work?
Nope.
Okay, your idea next.
We need a small business loan fast.
I got this.
Loan Falcon!
There's a better way to get a fast small business loan. Go to OnDeck.com, and if approved, get your funds as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck.
Over 13 million Americans were affected by identity theft in 2022, and the threats go way beyond just credit card fraud. Today's identity thieves can use your information in ways that are easy to miss by just monitoring accounts and credit, like opening loans, transferring home titles, even committing crimes.
Someone got my social security number, made a driver's license, and it was used for criminal activity.
You can do so much with a social security number that I didn't know could happen. They drained my bank account. It was terrifying.
You're even more vulnerable than you realize. Your information is exposed through online shopping, banking, even corporate data breaches. No wonder there's a new victim of identity theft every 3 seconds. Only LifeLock alerts you to the widest volume of threats all in one place, like someone trying to use your social security number, open a new loan in your name, or even commit a crime in your name.
There was a big yes button and there was a big no button. I clicked, that's not me, and LifeLock took it from there.
If you become a victim of identity theft, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will be assigned to your case and work to fix the issue on your behalf.
If something happens, you have somebody fighting for you.
All LifeLock members are backed by the LifeLock $1 Million Protection Package, including reimbursement for stolen funds, personal expenses, and coverage for lawyers and experts up to $1 million. It can be dangerously easy to steal your identity. With LifeLock, it's easy to help protect yourself.
I will be with LifeLock forever.
Join the millions of people already protected by LifeLock. And for a limited time, save 25% on your first year with promo code 25TV. All plans include a 60-day money-back guarantee. Call 800-241-9240 or visit lifelock.com/25TV to save 25% on your first year of identity theft protection. Enroll now.
Only the new Sleep Number smart beds let you both sleep at your ideal level of comfort, your Sleep Number setting. And now, all of our new next-gen smart beds have temperature benefits. The all-new Queen Sleep Number C2 smart bed is only $880. Sleep next level. Shop now, only at Sleep Number.
More real estate professionals list properties with Realtor.com than any other site.
Really?
Really. Trust the #1 app real estate professionals trust. Download the Realtor.com app today.
Imagine a world where no child goes to bed hungry.
We do, every day. It's a beautiful place.
But right now, families are struggling, and too many children don't have enough to eat.
So we're called to help them, to bring them food, resources, and hope.
To support families today so they can build a better tomorrow for their children.
To do this, we connect people. People like you, who can do so much for the most vulnerable children across this country and around the world.
If we work together and seize this moment, we won't have to just imagine that beautiful place.
We can create a world where no child goes to bed hungry.
I'll show you how to unwind. Come on, babe, let's go outside and take the boat out for a ride. I'm ready, I don't wanna wait. Cause the only time I'm feeling free is when I got that ocean breeze, so kicking it out on the lake. Get on board, got the sunshine and the short line. It's a good life. Get on board, have a good time. Casting that line, it's a good life. Get on board, get on board. Get on board.
Did you know it's easier to float in salt water, like in the ocean, than it is in fresh water, like a lake or a pool? That's because not all liquids are created equal. They have different densities. This is fresh water, or it doesn't have anything in it. And this is sugar. If I was to put 1 scoop of sugar in this water and stir it around until it dissolves, now this liquid is more dense than before I put the sugar in. Here's an experiment you can do at home using liquid density. This glass just has regular water with yellow food coloring in it. This glass, green food coloring and half a cup of sugar in it. This one has a full cup of sugar in it, and this one has 2 cups of sugar in it. Now, when you do this at home, you'll definitely want an adult to help you because you have to heat the water if you want to dissolve that much sugar in 1 glass of water. I'm gonna put them all in 1 container. You can do this at home, and when you do, I suggest you use a very small container because you have to be very careful when you put the layers in. You can use a turkey baster or a straw. When you put your finger on top, the air pressure will hold the liquid in and you can just drop it in. But these kind of take some time, so I'm going to use the syringe of science. I'm gonna use the most dense liquid first because that's the one that's gonna want to be on the bottom. I carefully put it on the bottom of the container. The next layer, be very careful. And you'll see that the red and the blue aren't mixing because they have different densities. The blue is heavier than the red. We'll add the green, and you can see even when it drips into the red, it comes back up to the top because the green liquid isn't as dense as the red liquid, and the denser liquids push the lighter liquid up. And now we're gonna add the yellow, which of course has no sugar in it at all. And there you go. All the layers stay separate. If you put it on a light, you can really see it. Liquid densities. Now, let's max it out. Ta-da! The longest length of liquid layers. 12 liquids all organized by density. Starting from the bottom, we have honey, corn syrup, chocolate syrup, maple syrup, dish soap, whole milk, water, dyed blue, vegetable oil, extra virgin olive oil, rubbing alcohol, baby oil, and lamp oil. Liquid density. I really, really want to mix it up, but it took me a long time to make this, so I'm not going to.
Our first 2 attempts with a tinfoil boat haven't gone so well. Husnia's idea is to make a tinfoil boat and add some more structure, because the tinfoil just wants to collapse when I get in it. So we start with a large piece of cardboard on the bottom, then we wrap the tinfoil around it and shape it into a boat. After that, we add some supports across the top to stop it from folding in when we add my weight to it.
This boat feels a lot stronger than the one I was just in.
I told you.
So how does all of this work?
So we got some support using broomsticks and then some cardboard paper. And then underneath we have cardboard.
And so how will all of this help the boat not sink with me in it?
Right. The broomsticks will prevent it from folding this way and you won't sink.
Good.
The cardboard will prevent it from folding this way and you won't sink again.
Not sinking is my favorite thing to do in the tinfoil boat. All right, so let's try it.
Let's do it. Okay.
Are you gonna get in this one?
I'll tell you what, Phil. If you get in and you don't sink, I'll go after you.
Deal.
All right.
All right, here we go. It's sort of working. Oh no, water's coming in. It's sort of working.
It's almost working.
Uh-oh. Go. No.
Hold on.
1, 2, 3, go.
Another thing I learned is that a very light tinfoil boat can be very heavy when it's full of water.
I don't know if fixing it is in the cards. I think we're gonna have to build another boat. So what do you think we should do?
Let's add more structure.
More structure?
Oh, yeah.
What if we add like a metal rod around the outside and maybe some more metal rods and ribs and we wrap it all in tin foil, and you think it'll work?
Let's give it a try.
Let's give it a try.
Don't worry about it. I got this.
No, I'll get it. I'll get it.
Sure?
We're traveling all across America, talking to people about their hearts. Who wants to talk about their heart? How's the heart? How's your heart? How's your heart?
It's good.
Is it?
I don't know.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Good?
You sure?
I think so.
How do you know? It doesn't come with a manual and you're like, oh, I got the 20,000-day checkup, right? Let me show you something. Put 2 fingers right on those pads. Look at that. That's your heart.
That is pretty awesome.
With KardioMobile, you can take a medical-grade EKG in just 30 seconds from anywhere. KardioMobile is proven to detect atrial fibrillation, one of the leading causes of stroke. And it's the only personal EKG that's FDA cleared to detect normal heart rhythm, bradycardia, and tachycardia.
How much do you think this costs?
Probably in the hundreds.
$79.
Oh, wow.
That could be cheaper than a tank of gas.
Checking your heart anytime, anywhere has never been easier. Don't wait. Get KardioMobile today for just $79 at Kardia.com or Amazon.
There's a reason big dental bills often come as a shock, because sometimes you don't realize what's not covered until you get the bill. That's why affordable dental insurance from Physicians Mutual is important. It can give you benefits that go beyond what you get from more limited coverage plans. Because no one likes a big dental bill, especially if you're retired or on a fixed income. For a free information kit, call or go online now. This isn't some discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance that helps cover over 350 procedures, like cleanings, fillings, crowns, bridges, root canals, even dentures, at any dentist you want. Dental insurance from Physicians Mutual Insurance Company helps cover preventive care, basic work, and major procedures with no deductibles and no annual maximum. For your free information kit with all the details, call now or visit sendinfokit.com.
Physicians Mutual, Physicians Mutual.
It's AARP.
Are you joining AARP?
Actually, I just did.
Call or go to joinaarp.org to join today for just $12, and your second membership is free. And get instant access to discounts on eye care, prescriptions, savings on travel, dining, and deals from top retailers. So many ways to save. Instant resources, tools, and tips to help manage your money, maximize your health, and so much more. Great offers find you wherever you are. And AARP is the largest advocacy group for people over 50. Your voice will be heard.
I love the local retail discounts.
I'm nowhere near ready to retire, and AARP has been a tremendous resource for that.
And we check out the hotels, the dining. AARP saves us a lot of money.
Join and get an insulated trunk organizer free, plus AARP the magazine.
Call, go online, or scan now.
1 in 4 Americans today are living with a disability. I'm one of them. I care deeply about creating a world we can all fully participate in, free from stigma, misperceptions, and barriers. And we've got a trusted ally on our side, an organization we can rely on, Easter Seals. Rooted in communities nationwide, Easter Seals helps empower millions of people, regardless of age or disability, through its life-changing services and powerful advocacy. Today and every day, Easter Seals is leading the way to full equity, inclusion, and access to health care, employment, and education for people with disabilities, families, and communities. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Learn more and get involved at EasterSeals.com.
No, I'm serious. You may have a little brother or sister at home, which means you probably know where you can find some diapers. But there are 2 things you need to remember. First, ask an adult if you can use the diapers for experiment. And 2, only use unused diapers. Okay? Okay. So, you take the diaper, and if you cut it, be very careful. Maybe get an adult to help you. over some black construction paper, like I have here, and you shake the diaper over the construction paper, you'll see that there's a little powder that comes out. And this is the secret ingredient. This is super absorbent gel. And what it does is it soaks up all the liquid, and diapers are full of them. And you carefully pour it into a plastic cup, like that. Now you can see I have already done it with a number of diapers. It's important to use a plastic cup because it's a little messy, although it's non-toxic, it's totally safe, but it's still easier to clean up by just throwing the cup away. Now, add some water, and what happens is this super absorbent gel absorbs the water and turns very quickly into a paste. Look at that. Now, let's max it out. 5 kilograms of super absorbent gel, 500 liters of water. Now, it is time to do science! And I have my own stir stick. Yep, definitely coming along. I'm not exactly sure if we're getting anything on this camera, but I want to make sure it's recording. Yep, it's recording. There we go. It is definitely turning solid. Well, there you go. The giant super absorbent gel experiment. Corey, Trevor, I need some help getting out. How many outfits have I been through in this episode? How many outfits have I been through in this episode? Anybody have a towel? There you go. Thanks, buddy. That's great.
Husnia's idea of adding structure to the tinfoil boat was definitely right. We just needed to go further. So we did it again. This time, we made a much larger boat. We started with a sheet of cardboard, then wrapped the tinfoil around and added some metal supports taped to the cardboard across the boat this way to make ribs, as well as some other supporting pieces in the front and the back. Then another metal rod all the way around the top, and finally, supports across the middle.
All right, feel how strong it is. I'm really excited about this version of the tinfoil boat. What we did is we used thwarts, big hard pieces of wood that we did last time, but this time we have ribs.
Ribs, right, which are made of a cardboard, a metal rod attached to it,
and shaped, and we did a whole bunch of them in the whole length of the boat. And then we used all of this bendable metal, and we have one that runs all the way around the gunnels, and a whole bunch that run down the inside, and we even used bike fenders at the front and the back of the boat to give it super rigidity so that it hopefully won't go like all the other boats have done so far. Are you ready, Husnia?
Let's do this.
1, 2, 3, lift. All right, let me get over. It floats, but that doesn't tell us anything because they've all floated at this point. It's only when I get into it. Okay, here we go. All right. Hey! Hey, it works! All right.
Oh, it's working.
Look at that. It works perfectly. The tinfoil boat experiment has been done. Science Max, experiments at large. What do you think, Husnia?
The only reason I got into this boat is because I knew it's gonna work.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So you knew you would never get wet? See, I don't think that's fair. I think it's time that you got wet. I think we should go. I think you and I should just get wet right now. Just need
someone help.
You're still dry.
Okay.
That is so unfair.
Science Max is a show where we take small experiments and do them big. Thanks for watching Science Max Experiments at Large.
Science! what you're saying. I don't speak treasure chest. The one thing I'm really trying not to think about is that this is the stuff that's in diapers. Let me talk to your brother. Whoa, 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 whoa. Don't talk with your mouth full.
Have you ever done a science experiment and wondered what it'd be like if you did it big? I have. My name is Phil, and I take your everyday science experiments and do them big. This is Science Max, experiments at large. Science Max! Today on Science Max, we're looking at chemicals. Chemicals make up everything around us, and we're finding out which ones you can mix together to make spectacular science. Whoa! Cutest science ever. Today on Science Max, experiments at large. Greetings, Science Maximites. My name is Phil McCordick, and the name of the show is Science Max, Experiments at Large. Today, we're taking a closer look at chemistry. Ooh. Chemistry is the science of atoms and molecules, the things that make up all matter, and how they interact with each other. Take, for example, this glow stick. Actually, don't take it, because I kind of need it. The glow stick doesn't glow until you... The glow stick doesn't glow until you break the barrier and mix the two chemicals, and they start to glow. Huh? Pretty cool, huh? Chemistry. Now, the chemical reaction we're looking at today is the old vinegar and baking soda volcano. But this reaction doesn't have anything to do with volcanoes. It's chemistry. Now, this experiment is totally safe, but I do recommend you get an adult's permission before you do it because it's very messy. Yeah. First, you're gonna want baking soda and vinegar. These are your two main ingredients, but you'll also want dish soap and red food coloring if you want it to look a little bit more like lava. Now, I like to mix the baking soda, red food coloring, and dish soap together with a little warm water, so all you have to do is add the vinegar. And when you do, this is what happens. And there you go, chemical reaction. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Phil, how much vinegar or baking soda do I use? Well, I'm not gonna tell you. This is where you can be Science Maximites. Try different amounts. More vinegar, more baking soda, more dish soap. Who knows? Write down the amounts each time you use it and find out what amounts work best. That's called science. And that's what we're going to be looking at today, chemistry in all its forms. And of course, because it is Science Max, experiments at large, we're going to max out the vinegar and baking soda volcano. So I'm off to the Center for Skills Development and Training. Come on. Talina.
Hi, Phil.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. This is Talina. She's going for her PhD in chemistry from McMaster, right?
Yep.
Awesome, which means you can help me max out the baking soda and vinegar. We need vinegar. You can grab that vinegar. And vinegar volcano. So what happens when we mix these two chemicals?
Well, vinegar is an acid and baking soda is a base, and when you mix them, they neutralize each other to produce carbon dioxide and water as a byproduct.
So acids and bases are kind of like opposites.
Yep.
So I guess that makes sense. When you put them together, crazy stuff happens.
Yeah.
Awesome. Chemistry. Okay, so I want to use this much vinegar and this much baking soda.
What's with the fish tank?
The fish tank is where I want to mix it all together. What do you think?
Awesome.
Maxed out. Okay, let's move the fish tank somewhere where we won't make a huge mess. It's a little heavy with all that. We gotta. No, we're gonna have to take a couple trips. That's kind of heavy. Okay, so we'll take this and that, and then this and that. No, hold on. I can do it. One more. Okay, good. Okay, good. Yeah. I took too much. Uh-oh. That's good, Ramona. Put it in the background. Put the sign in the background. Yeah, in the BG. I love the BG. Chemicals. 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 Chemicals? Chemicals. What are chemicals? Are they things you have in a lab in a jar that say chemical on them? Well, yes. But if that's all you think chemicals are, then you need to know your chemicals. Turns out the stuff in the jar is a chemical, but the jar itself also made of chemicals. The table I'm putting it on, made of chemicals. My lunch, chemicals. Roller skate, chemicals. My jacket, chemicals. This guitar, chemicals. My shoe, chemicals. This watch, chemicals. This fish, chemicals. 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 Me, chemicals. You, chemicals. Ramona, chemicals. No, I said your chemicals. Never mind. This is it. The periodic table of the elements. All matter in the universe is made up of these pure elements. They go together in different ways to make up everything. All matter. Think of it like building blocks. These little atoms are some of the elements on this periodic table. You got 1 oxygen, 2 hydrogen, bam, you got a water molecule. 1 carbon, 2 oxygen, hey, it's carbon dioxide. 2 carbon, 2 oxygen, 4 hydrogen, skadoosh. Vinegar. 1 sodium, 1 chlorine, hey, that's salt. All matter in the universe is just the stuff on here combining into these. And now, you know your chemicals. Sugar. Let's take a closer look at what's going on when we mix vinegar and baking soda. All chemicals are made of atoms. There's only 4 types in our reaction: carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, and sodium. When they go together like this is a molecule of vinegar, or acetic acid. And this is a molecule of baking soda, or sodium bicarbonate. When chemicals react, they switch atoms. That one goes there, this one goes over here, and then this one turns into this, and then what you end up with are new molecules. This one is called sodium acetate, and this one is carbon dioxide gas, the gas you breathe out. And do you recognize this one? Right, water, H2O. Why all this happens gets complicated, but the study of chemistry is all about how molecules are built and react with other molecules. All right, Talina, you ready?
Yeah.
You're gonna pour all your baking soda in the fish tank, and I'm gonna pour the vinegar into this bucket, because you don't wanna pour them together right away. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, go for it. When you're doing your PhD in chemistry, do you get to do stuff like this?
Yeah.
Really?
Got to do a lot of fun reactions in the lab.
Oh, I'm jealous. Have you ever done this much vinegar and baking soda in one time?
I can't say I ever have.
There you go. That's what I like to hear. I already put the soap in the bucket so it would mix with the vinegar when I poured it in. Now, are you done your baking soda already?
I am.
I'll pour faster. Faster.
It smells vinegary.
It smells vinegar. It makes me want French fries. Okay, Talina, you take this very full bucket of vinegar and dish soap.
Thank you.
I will take this one. Uh-oh, we still have our 3rd bucket. Okay, I'll do these both at the same time. Okay, ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. That's awesome. So the one thing it didn't do, it didn't shoot up in the air, though.
Yeah, it's because the top is quite open, so you would need to constrict it to get it to shoot up.
Oh, yeah, because we're using just sort of a square, a rectangular prism container. We should get something that's maybe something more like our vinegar bottle, right? Because there's lots of space down here, but then it forces it into a tighter opening at the top there, like a volcano.
Yep.
And what else can we do to make it even more powerful, to max it out?
Vinegar is only 5% acid. The rest is water, so you could try using 100%.
So what kind of acid is vinegar?
It's acetic acid.
So vinegar is actually only 5% acetic acid and 95% water. So you can get 100% acetic acid?
Yeah.
Can you get 100% acetic acid?
Yes.
Awesome. Why don't we get a container that's sort of shaped like a funnel, like a volcano,
Yeah.
and 100% acetic acid, and we'll do it again.
Sounds good.
All right, let's do it.
I wish I had you.
Oh, yeah. Love your necklace. It's Gloriana. Good boy. Who served that? You too. Cheers. Gloriana. Jewelry you'll love. Visit us in-store or online.
Homeowners, pay attention. Stairs at home are a big problem. Introducing Stilts Home Elevators, an affordable solution that will upgrade your home and make it safe, elegant, and extremely functional. Stilts Home Elevators have an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, and they're designed to be extremely safe and make your life easier. Call or go to Stilts.com now to schedule your free no-obligation in-home assessment and get a free brochure.
Call 1-800-330-8133 or go to Stilts.com.
And I said, Saturday, no one's here. Like, are you getting this? So if he wants to get in.
Water doesn't have to be boring. Turn it up with Circle. With over 40 delicious flavors and a dial that controls your intensity, Circle starts a party for your taste buds. No sugar, no calories, and no artificial flavors. Just good times. Circle. It's your water, your way. Now with even more flavors. Available at Walmart or drinkcircle.com.
In 3 seconds, Janice will win a speedboat.
Bingo! I'm going to the lake! Gotta sell the house.
Ooh, that's a lot of work. Don't worry. Skip the hassles and sell directly to Open Door.
Bingo.
Get your competitive offer at opendoor.com.
Here's your parachute. Packed it myself.
Certain it's okay?
Mm-hmm.
Are you for Imprint certain?
Certainty matters. Like the certainty of congratulating coworkers or saying thank you for being a customer with promotional products from 4imprint. Our expert team is dedicated to making your satisfaction a certainty.
Packed it myself.
Land the perfect products at 4imprint.com.
4imprint for certain.
Here's why you should switch from Chrome to DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo is a browser you download to your mobile and desktop devices. Unlike Chrome, the DuckDuckGo browser has privacy built in. It comes with a private alternative to Google search, which doesn't spy on your searches. And it blocks cookies and creepy ads. And there's no catch. It's free. We make money from ads, but they don't follow you around. Join the millions of people taking back their privacy by downloading DuckDuckGo on mobile and desktop today.
This bakery needs new equipment fast to keep up with demand. So they're going to OnDeck, the online lender that makes it easy to choose your loan and if approved, get funds as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck.
You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, or brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will live as one.
Our vinegar and baking soda reaction went pretty well. But now we're going to try it with a much stronger type of the same kind of acid you find in vinegar.
Carefully
putting this down. And watch out for the baking soda. You never know when it'll get out. And, well, I guess that's just baking soda, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty safe.
Yeah, okay, good. So this is baking soda vinegar volcano version 2. We have this differently shaped glass. What do you call this again?
That's an Erlenmeyer flask.
Why is it called that?
It's actually named after a scientist.
Did he look like that? Was he sort of shaped like this?
No.
No? Was he just a good chemist?
Good scientist, and I think he designed the glass.
Oh, see, there you go. So if you want to have a glass named after you, be a good chemist and design a glass. I want to make a fill beaker. So this is 100% acetic acid.
Yep.
And what's the difference between this and vinegar?
Vinegar has 5% of this and 95% water. But this is 100%, so it's much stronger.
Much stronger. Can you put this on your French fries?
No, I wouldn't be putting it on your French fries.
No? As chemicals go, how dangerous is this?
It's not too dangerous, but you definitely don't want to be breathing it in, and you don't want to be eating it.
Or getting it on your skin. That's why I'm wearing these fancy gloves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour the acetic acid in this. What's this called?
That is a graduated cylinder.
Because it finished school. So it graduated. Now you're going to mix water and food coloring and soap all together.
Yep.
And pour it into there?
It'll help dissolve some of the baking soda, so hopefully it'll react better with the acid.
Sounds good. Face protection.
Oh.
All right, that's good. And now, when we do it, I want to add the funnel at the end to like accentuate the concentration of, but I don't know if it's going to go so fast that I won't be able to get it in there, but we'll try it.
Try it.
Vinegar baking soda volcano version 2.
Good thing you got the mask.
It smells a lot like vinegar. It's really strong. Oh. That was pretty good. But what can we do to make it even bigger?
Well, you could try using a different chemical reaction.
Ooh, okay. Like what?
The decomposition of hydrogen peroxide produces oxygen gas, and so that one's pretty vigorous if you use a catalyst.
So we want something that makes a lot of gas so that it makes a lot of bubbles when you put the soap in it.
Yep.
Great, let's do it. And the sooner you leave that smell, the better, I think, for my taste. Today we're combining two different chemicals to create a reaction. Sometimes chemicals can combine in a way that makes them very different from how they started out. For example, this is sodium, or Na on the periodic table. Now, the sodium tablets are in mineral oil because sodium reacts very strongly with water, even the water in the air, or especially the water in my skin. Watch what happens when I drop a sodium tablet into this beaker of water. Very cool and very dangerous.
And this is chlorine, or Cl on the periodic table. Chlorine gas is very poisonous. So,
So, what happens if we combine these two deadly substances? Do we create some sort of super poison? Something more deadly than anything else known to science that causes fear and chaos in chemistry labs all over the land? No, we create salt. Good old normal table salt. These two substances combine to make NaCl, salt. Something completely and totally safe. Chemistry. We've gone from vinegar and baking soda to 100% acetic acid in baking soda, and now we're doing the vinegar and baking soda volcano version 3. No longer vinegar and baking soda.
Nope.
What are we using this time?
So here we have some hydrogen peroxide.
Oh, that's the stuff you use at home to put on a cut, right?
Yeah, but the stuff at home's only 3%. This one's 30.
So much stronger, 10 times stronger.
Yes.
And is this more dangerous?
It's definitely corrosive, so wear your gloves.
Corrosive means it could eat your skin.
It can burn your skin a little
Which
bit.
is why we're wearing gloves and blast shields. What's going to mix with this?
So here we have some potassium iodide, which is a salt, and it's mixed in with some water.
The most important part of this reaction is the fact that it creates gas.
Oxygen
which
gas.
makes bubbles when you put in dish soap, right?
Yep.
So one big squirt of dish soap like that. Mix it up. Now we go over to the blast zone.
All
right. Now that's a reaction. Looks like there's steam coming off here. Why is that happening?
Well, it is an exothermic reaction, so heat is being generated as the reaction proceeds.
Oh, cool. Can we lift our visors now?
Yep.
Awesome. And what's being released? What's the gas that's coming off here?
So it's oxygen gas that's being produced.
Oxygen. What we want to do is make this even bigger, but first, can we do it again?
Sure.
Because I have an idea. Hold on. I think we should repurpose our old volcano. What do you think?
Sounds like a good idea.
Okay, so if we put it over here, all right, volcano version 3.5. Hydrogen peroxide, potassium iodide. Right, here we go. Whoa!
Looks like lava.
Whoa! Look at that. Now that is a big volcano eruption.
Just covered the town.
That is completely, yes. That town is going to be very clean because it's all soap bubbles. It's the cleanest volcano this side of Science Maxville. So I still think we can do this bigger, though, right?
I agree.
Oh, I know. What if we use some sort of a tube, like maybe one of these, right? And then we attach it to like an air compressor.
I think you'd get some height.
Yeah, and we go outside.
Over 13 million Americans were affected by identity theft in 2022, and the threats go way beyond just credit card fraud. Today's identity thieves can use your information in ways that are easy to miss by just monitoring accounts and credit, like opening loans, transferring home titles, even committing crimes.
Someone got my social security number, made a driver's license, and it was used for criminal activity.
You can do so much with a social security number that I didn't know could happen. They drained my bank account. It was terrifying.
You're even more vulnerable than you realize. Your information is exposed through online shopping, banking, even corporate data breaches. No wonder there's a new victim of identity theft every 3 seconds. Only LifeLock alerts you to the widest volume of threats all in one place, like someone trying to use your social security number, open a new loan in your name, or even commit a crime in your name.
There was a big yes button and there was a big no button. I clicked, that's not me, and LifeLock took it from there.
If you become a victim of identity theft, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will be assigned to your case and work to fix the issue on your behalf.
If something happens, you have somebody fighting for you.
All LifeLock members are backed by the LifeLock $1 Million Protection Package, including reimbursement for stolen funds, personal expenses, and coverage for lawyers and experts up to $1 million. It can be dangerously easy to steal your identity. With LifeLock, it's easy to help protect yourself.
I will be with LifeLock forever.
Join the millions of people already protected by LifeLock. And for a limited time, save 25% on your first year with promo code 25TV. All plans include a 60-day money-back guarantee. Call 800-241-9240 or visit lifelock.com/25TV to save 25% on your first year of identity theft protection. Enroll now.
This is Kathy. She's about to see her dentist. She's afraid. Not because of the drill, but because of the bill. A big bill. But Kathy doesn't need to be afraid, and neither do you, thanks to affordable dental insurance from Physicians Mutual Insurance Company. It's easy to get this coverage. Don't believe me? Call or go online for all the details. You could even have this free information kit. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance. It helps pay for over 400 procedures. That's a lot. I'm talking cleanings, fillings, crowns, bridges, root canals, even dentures. Bottom line, you'll have help paying for routine care and expensive major work. But if you want deductibles, forget it. There aren't any. No annual maximum either. Plus, you can see any dentist you want. Stop fearing the big bill. Start saving at the dentist. Call now or go to sendinfokit.com.
Physicians Mutual, Physicians Mutual.
There's an epidemic of hearing loss in the world today. 1.1 billion young people worldwide are at risk from listening too loud and too long. And up to 1 in 4 U.S. adults show signs of noise-induced hearing loss. It's happening because the world is noisy, and blasting your headphones only makes it worse. Here's what you can do. Give your ears a rest. Just like your body, they need breaks too. And when you rock out, and we all do, be smart and carry ear protection. Let's make earplugs cool. So, listen up, people. When the world turns it up to 11, lower it to 6. Because hearing things we love is one of the greatest gifts of life. And once it's gone forever. You're never too young or too old to take care of your ears.
The atom in 60 seconds. The atom is the smallest unit in a chemical element. Atoms are made of 3 parts. Part number 1 are these guys, protons. They have a positive charge. The number of protons determines the element. 1 is hydrogen, 2 is helium, 3 is lithium, and so on. The protons sit in the middle here, which is called the nucleus. They sit in here with part number 2, these guys. They're neutrons and they have a neutral charge. Now I've got 8 protons and 8 neutrons in this nucleus, making this an atom of oxygen. Orbiting around the nucleus are these tiny guys. They're electrons and they have a negative charge. I will demonstrate using kittens. Kittens are perfect because just like electrons, kittens are really small. And just like electrons, kittens move around randomly. You never know where they're going to be, but an oxygen atom should have 8 kittens, or electrons, somewhere inside. These kittens are constantly escaping, but guess what? That happens with electrons too. There you go, the atom, a nucleus of protons and neutrons surrounded by randomly moving electrons. Cutest science ever. How do you guys feel? Did you learn something? Huh? Pause up. Who learned something? Talina and I have made a bunch of chemical reactions, but in our quest to max things out, we've got a new plan. Hydrogen peroxide and potassium iodide create gas. One way to max out the reaction is to contain the gas in something like a tube. We're gonna put the hydrogen peroxide in the tube first. Then we're gonna put in the potassium iodide in the top through a one-way valve. Then we're gonna pressurize the container. When it finally reacts, it will shoot up through the valve and we'll see how high we can get our stream of bubbles to go. But be warned, capping anything and not letting it escape is never a good idea. So we've got a release valve to make sure things work out. This is one of those experiments that's definitely on the list of don't try this at home. Vinegar baking soda volcano version 4, hydrogen peroxide, potassium iodide. And what we're gonna do this time is we're gonna put it in this tube. Hydrogen peroxide goes in here. And we've got, Talina, do you have the potassium iodide and syringes?
Yeah, 2 syringes full.
2 syringes full. About there is good. And then soap. Good amount of soap in there. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna close this off and tighten it up. And then we're gonna pressurize the whole system. And then we're gonna add the potassium iodide. And it's going to be spectacular, we hope. Okay, that's on tight. This is all good. Putting this down here. And potassium iodide goes in here.
Ready?
Puts down. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. And we back away slowly. Whoa! Whoa! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, let's check it out. Woo! All right, there you go. Vinegar and baking soda Florida Volcano maxed out. Thank you, Talita. That was great. We kind of need to clean up a lot, don't we?
Yeah.
We have out here, we have the other room.
Thanks for watching Science Max Experiments at Large.
Chemicals! Chemicals!
The chemistry of hydrophobic coating literally repels water molecules and doesn't let her...
Chemicals! Chemicals!
Hydrophobic coating...
Chemicals! Chemicals!
2 carbon, 2 oxygen, 4 hydrogen?
Going in!
Today on Animal Science, did you know that chimpanzees share about 95% of their DNA with humans? These monkeys are so smart that they can even be taught to brush their teeth. And that the howler monkey has supersized vocal cords that allow it to project its voice over 20 miles. Plus, to help conserve precious energy, ring-tailed lemurs from Madagascar bask in the morning sun like yoga masters. Today, we're all about primates, great apes, baboons, lemurs, and more. Welcome to the fascinating world of animal science. Of the estimated 437 species of primate alive today, there are 3 that seem to capture our imagination the most. Why are we so fascinated with these creatures? Maybe it's because they remind us of ourselves. They are the great apes. While all primates have human-like qualities, there is one that most closely resembles man, the chimpanzee. Aside from humans, the chimpanzee is considered to be the most intelligent animal on the planet. This is because, relative to its body size, the chimp has a huge brain. These Einsteins of the animal kingdom are amazing tool users. Here, we see a captive chimp named Charlie using a toothpick to snatch up raisins. In the wild, Charlie would be snatching up termites. Once he's had enough, this chimp even remembers to brush his teeth.
When we talk about humans and chimpanzees, they're our closest relative, and in many cases, like a really bright chimpanzee might be the equivalent of a 2 or 3-year-old child at some tasks. But in other tasks, when they get them to do some simple, repetitive calculations, they've actually outperformed college students.
Super genius of the primate kingdom, the chimpanzee. Now, you won't find this guy climbing the Empire State Building and smashing helicopters in real life. But he is the largest of all primates. He is the gorilla. Believe it or not, these enormous apes are strict vegetarians and spend countless hours foraging for veggies in the forest. And if that's not enough, the gorilla will sometimes forage up its nose. Classy animals, aren't they? The result of all this eating is that gorillas can consume 40 pounds of vegetation in a single day.
You look at gorillas, they look fat. You see their stomach. I wouldn't want to get too close to a gorilla on the assumption that it's fat. I would bet it's not fat. You're actually seeing a very large digestive system.
These massive apes rarely drink in the wild. This is because the leafy greens they consume are filled with water. So in essence, the gorilla doesn't drink its water, it eats it. Clever little system, don't you think? Maybe the next time you're thirsty and can't find anything to drink, try chowing down on some vegetables. It certainly works for the gorilla, one of our closest living relatives. Deep in the jungles of Southeast Asia, the orangutan moves quietly through the trees. This shaggy, red-haired ape is perfectly suited for life in the forest, mainly because it has incredibly long arms. While the average male orangutan only stands about 5 feet tall, its wingspan stretches to about 7 feet. The orangutan uses its freakish forelimbs to swing effortlessly from tree to tree. This method of locomotion is called brachiation. Kids try it all the time, but they're not quite as talented as our arboreal ancestors. After all, orangutans have been climbing trees for about 15 million years. These great apes are truly the kings of the treetops. When Columbus and other explorers came to the New World, they found a vast land of untapped riches. They also found many new species of wildlife. Among them, the New World monkeys. If you've ever taken a trip to the Amazon rainforest, chances are you've seen this miniature-sized monkey scurrying in the trees. It's called a squirrel monkey, and it may very well be the quickest and most agile of all primates. The squirrel monkey's great athleticism stems from the fact that in order to survive, it must constantly evade predators like snakes, hawks, and even jaguars. When in danger, the squirrel monkey is usually able to outmaneuver these enemies with the help of its amazing tail.
The squirrel monkey's tail is as long as its body, maybe even longer. The reason for that is it acts as a balancer. Much like a tightrope walker will use a pole to balance his or her weight when walking along a tightrope.
Not only does the squirrel monkey have awesome balance, but it also possesses superhuman vertical leaping power. It's been said that these monkeys can jump 4 times their body length from a standing position.
Actually, squirrel monkeys would be really good basketball players. If a basketball player could jump as high as a squirrel monkey, a basketball player would be easily able to clear the entire backboard and fly over the hoop.
The squirrel monkey, super athlete of the primate kingdom. Nothing like sitting back and listening to the booming voice of an opera singer. In most parts of the world, we have to pay money to hear such sounds, but not in the jungles of Central and South America. This is where the famous howler monkey lives, the opera singer of the animal kingdom. These slow-moving primates are believed to be the world's loudest land animals. In fact, their deep howls are almost as loud as a jet engine.
When you watch a howler monkey calling, it'll seem to expand its throat or throat sac like a balloon. This is because of the supersized vocal cords which expand and amplify the sound.
Howler monkeys live together in what are called troops, which usually consist of about 10 monkeys. When a troop finds a suitable territory, its members will call out to other troops, notifying them in a not-so-subtle way to keep their distance. This way, potential fights are avoided, and the howler monkeys can go about their daily business in peace, but certainly not quiet. While not nearly as loud as the howler monkey, the capuchin monkey has been given a different talent, brain power. These cute little guys are considered to be the most intelligent of all New World monkeys.
Go get your turn.
How did they get so smart? One theory has to do with the fact that they rely on what scientists call, now get ready for this word, ephemeral food sources. Huh?
By ephemeral, we mean that they're not permanent. So So foods such as fruits or flowers, which are seasonal, or even the small bugs or insects that capuchins feed on, are moving around from place to place. The capuchin has to remember the locations of these different food sources.
In order to eat these small fruits and insects, capuchins have evolved awesome dexterity in their hands. They even have opposable thumbs, like we do. This dexterity, combined with their high intelligence, allows capuchin monkeys to perform some amazing tasks around the house. Preparing food, drinks, even turning on the stereo. It's no sweat for this amazing little animal that we call the capuchin monkey. Coming up, find out what makes these monkeys such amazing swimmers, and how the baboon fends off predators with its enormous canines. Find out how lemurs have managed to survive in isolation for the last 50 million years. These primitive creatures are unlike any other primate in the world. Right here on Animal Science.
IRS. 3 letters that strike fear into everyone, and for good reason. The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth, and being in debt to the IRS can have serious consequences. Oftentimes, it begins with the IRS sending you a collection letter, but then escalates. And before you know it, you're having your paychecks garnished, your bank account seized, even your home or business could be at risk.
I owed the IRS $12,439. I was receiving telephone calls. I was receiving letters from the IRS. I was scared.
I had a good job. I was a substitute teacher. Then I got laid off. I owe the IRS $14,000. When you owe the IRS $14,000, you know that they are coming for their money.
Well, basically, we went to an independent tax person, have our taxes done and everything. Evidently, our taxes weren't done right.
These stories are all too common. But thankfully, there's Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 most trusted tax relief firm. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. And if you're in trouble with the IRS, they can help you too.
I didn't know what I was going to do. I was up against a wall. I had no solution. Luckily, I came across Optima Tax Relief, and when I saw the A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, I knew that this was the company for me.
The final action was they said we owed roughly about $16,300. And on our income, we can't come up with this money. How are we going to do this? And my wife called Optima Tax. Almost immediately, it was life-changing for us.
I needed somebody to make me feel like they were there for me, that they were going to fight for me. I picked up the phone, called Optima Tax Relief. They guaranteed me that they were going to help me out the best that they can. And they did.
Why go it alone when you can have the tax experts at Optima on your side? They specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that could save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, Optima has been honored with numerous awards for delivering unparalleled customer service and results for their clients.
I would have called Optima Tax Relief a lot sooner if I'd have known how good they were. They're the best in the business.
I owed the IRS $12,439, and now I am debt-free. Thank you, Optima Tax.
Hey, if you were in a situation like me, you feel behind on your taxes, there is a solution. And the solution is Optima Tax Relief.
So don't wait. Today you have options. Tomorrow you might not. Optima's tax professionals are standing by, ready to help you now.
For your free consultation, call 800-773-4817. 800-773-4817. That's 800-773-4817.
Optima Tax Relief.
Focus. Determination. Drive. Some say we're born with it. Some say it lies within Jennifer's purse at Carousel 3. Liquid IV has 8 vitamins and nutrients for faster hydration to give you a boost for your marathon and to power through set after set. Because real life is extreme enough. Liquid IV. Real hydrating.
Experience the joy of home suite hosting with help from Ashley. Pay 0% interest for 5 years on guest-approved essentials starting at just $17 per month. Plus, save on accessories store-wide to finish every look. Shop and save today, only at Ashley.
Imagine a world where no child goes to bed hungry.
We do, every day. It's a beautiful place.
But right now, families are struggling, and too many children don't have enough to eat.
So we're called to help them, to bring them food, resources, and hope.
To support families today so they can build a better tomorrow for their children.
To do this, we connect people. People like you, who can do so much for the most vulnerable children across this country and around the world.
If we work together and seize this moment, we won't have to just imagine that beautiful place.
We can create a world where no child goes to bed hungry.
Prior to the great explorers of the 15th and 16th centuries, conventional wisdom held that there were only 3 continents: Europe, Africa, and Asia. These are now known as the Old World continents, home to the Old World monkeys. Meet the long-tailed macaque, native to Southeast Asia. If we ever decided to hold an Old World Monkey Olympics, this little guy would almost certainly win a gold medal in swimming. Scientists believe long-tailed macaques developed their awesome swimming ability as a way to avoid predators. If spotted by a hungry raptor circling above, the long-tailed macaque can simply drop down into the water and swim to safety. Here, we see another type of macaque. This one lives in Japan. Unlike its tropical cousins, the Japanese macaque has a short, stub-like tail, kind of like a bunny rabbit. Scientists believe this is because it lives in colder environments.
The idea is that extremities are dangerous in cold environments, and so you shorten them up. And so among closely related species, you expect those in the tropics to have longer extremities, and you expect those in the higher latitudes to have shorter ones.
Like many other Old World monkeys, Japanese macaques also have special cheek pouches. Just like a squirrel or chipmunk, the Japanese macaque will use the pouches to store food. Check out this guy chowing down grapes. 5 grapes in 5 seconds. But remember, he's not swallowing the grapes. He's storing them. Another brilliant adaptation by Mother Nature. Now take a look at these baboons from Africa. Notice anything strange about them? How about the fact that, unlike most other monkeys, these guys seem to spend most of their time on the ground?
Many times when you're looking at a troop of baboons, you can't even see a tree in the picture. What are these baboons doing on the ground? Well, they happen to have gone through a period where the forests of Africa mostly dried up. And the African primates, for the most part, almost all of them had to adapt to some amount of life on the ground.
Baboon adaptation number 1, butt pads. Scientists call them ischiocallosities. Similar to how us humans develop calluses on our hands and feet to protect our skin, baboons have developed calluses on their backsides. The calluses are hairless and nerveless, so that when the baboon goes to sit down, it doesn't have to worry about damaging its precious derriere. Baboons also feature a large dog-like snout, which houses a ferocious set of canines. With a flash of its formidable fangs, the baboon is capable of warding off ground predators like hyenas, jackals, and sometimes even leopards. This way, it doesn't always have to retreat to the treetops for safety. Mother Nature has indeed designed an amazingly adapted creature. Climbing. It requires strength, agility, and courage. Many animals, including us humans, can do it. But some creatures are more talented than others. Primates are perhaps the most gifted climbers in the world. They are the super climbers. This is a gibbon. Native to Southeast Asia, gibbons are some of the most awesome climbers out there. Their long arms act like human legs turned upside down. The gibbon's arms are longer than the height of its whole body. They allow it to swing up to 50 feet in a single stride, and at speeds as much as 35 miles per hour. There are few primates that rival the gibbon when it comes to climbing talent. One of them is the spider monkey. Just like the gibbon, the spider monkey has incredibly long arms relative to its body size. But it also has a secret climbing weapon, its tail. The spider monkey has what's called a prehensile tail.
The prehensile tail acts as a fifth limb, enabling the spider monkey to grasp branches like an extra arm. It has a patch of bare skin on the underside of the tail, so that when it's grasping a branch curling around, that patch of skin offers extra grip.
Here, a spider monkey swings in the trees. Let's take a closer look at its tail. On X-ray, you can see the tail is filled with bones. Moving out from the base, these bones become smaller. At the tip of the tail, they're no larger than the size of a pea, which increases flexibility. With its amazing array of equipment, the spider monkey is one of the quickest climbers in the world. Ever wonder how quick? Get ready to find out in our Animal Science Experiment of the Week. Our experiment features two participants. One is the young karate master, seen here. The other is a spider monkey. Each will try to climb as fast as possible up these ropes, which are 20 feet high. First up, the Karate Kid.
Climbers, take your marks, please. Ready, get set.
And he reaches the top in a time of 8.05 seconds. Next up, the spider monkey.
Ready, get set. Get your treat, go get your treat. Go, 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 go.
4.12 seconds. Almost twice as fast as the Karate Kid. Why was the spider monkey so much quicker to the top? It's all in the technique. On closer inspection, you can see the spider monkey's feet grasp the rope in much the same way that its hands do. This means all four of its limbs are totally engaged during the climb, and they work in tandem to increase the efficiency of upward movement. So it was a nice try, Karate Kid. We appreciate the effort, but maybe next time, try climbing against someone your own size. When we come back, find out how lemurs have managed to survive in isolation for the last 50 million years. These primitive creatures are unlike any other primate in the world. Right here on Animal Science.
We need a small business loan fast.
I got this.
Loan cannon!
There's a better way to get a fast small business loan. Go to OnDeck.com, and if approved, get your funds as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck.
Only the Sleep Number Climate 360 Smart Bed lets you both sleep up to 13 degrees cooler or warmer on either side, and at your ideal level of comfort, your Sleep Number setting. The all-new Queen Sleep Number C2 Smart Bed is only $880. Sleep next level. Shop now, only at Sleep Number.
And I said, Saturday, no one's here, right? Are you getting this? So if he wants the invoice...
Water doesn't have to be boring. Turn it up with Circle. With over 40 delicious flavors and a dial that controls your intensity, Circle starts a party for your taste buds. No sugar, no calories, and no artificial flavors. Just good times. Circle. It's your water, your way. Try Circle at drinkcircle.com.
I used to think all doctors were the same. Then I switched to Oak Street Health. You see, this isn't your typical doctor's office. Instead of waiting around for me to get sick, they focus on keeping me healthy and feeling good. Hey! Still got it.
Zion. No sugar, right?
And the best part, everyone at Oak Street Health is experienced with people my age.
At Oak Street Health, we specialize in caring for older adults like you with a focus on keeping you healthy. So don't wait. Call today.
Zion, we're ready for you.
Here people get to know me the old-fashioned way.
By listening.
This guy takes all the notes, so my doctor is all eyes on me, and I'm never rushed out.
Ready to go?
We get to know you better with longer appointment times, including same-day and next-day appointments.
Everyone gets their own personal care team. Hey, whether it's doctors, nurses, social workers, mental health support, even someone to help me understand my Medicare benefits. They all work together for me, myself, and I. Not to mention a 24/7 patient support line.
We customized a plan for him, and we can do the same for you.
Getting the care you need has never been easier because our team members work together to handle all your healthcare needs.
And you get all this with no extra cost. They even gather all your medical records and health history. So switching to their doctors is easy. And you can keep living your life your way.
At Oak Street Health, we specialize in caring for older adults like you. Call 855-262-2935 to schedule a visit and see why we are the only primary care provider to carry the AARP name. Oak Street Health.
If you're watching this Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance commercial, there's a good chance that you're alive. And if you're not, well, this may not be of interest to you. Now, I know what you're thinking. Life insurance? I'm going to live forever. Death is what happens to other people. Well, for the sake of argument, let's assume you're wrong and that someday you won't be watching TV anymore. I know it's not easy to talk about, so I'll do the talking. If you're 50 plus and alive, you can apply for Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance with guaranteed acceptance, regardless of your health. And since this life insurance is guaranteed, you don't have to get a medical exam. In fact, you don't even have to fill out a health questionnaire. For a free quote, just call 800-442-1957. Then when you stop, if you stop watching TV, your family can use the insurance money to help cover your final expenses or anything else. For a free quote, call today, 800-442-1957. Your kids already inherited your ears, allergies, and questionable singing voice. Don't make them inherit your final expense tab, too.
Let's roll. Wait, what's that?
Hawk feather?
That's right, baby.
His job is important.
But this is what matters most.
Mother Nature is capable of great creation, but also great destruction. To survive on Earth is no easy task. That's why this next group of primates probably deserves some more respect. They are the primitive primates. Scientists estimate that lemurs have been around for about 50 million years. In evolutionary terms, that means these munchkins from Madagascar are about 35 million years older than the great apes. One of them, the ring-tailed lemur, has evolved to be a sun worshiper. Similar to cold-blooded reptiles, ring-tailed lemurs enjoy sunbathing. Not only is it relaxing, but it also helps the lemurs conserve energy by allowing them to warm their bodies through solar radiation. These little primates may be primitive, but over the years, they've certainly come up with some awesome survival techniques. From Animal Science, see you next time. Today on Animal Science, did you know that sharks are 5 million times more sensitive to electricity than humans? And it makes them the ultimate underwater predator. Plus, a skunk's odor can be diluted to 10 parts per billion and still make your eyes water. And an average human walks 26 times faster than the three-toed sloth. It's so slow, it's actually covered in vegetation. From the depths of the oceans to the tops of the trees, we found the most incredible creatures on Earth. Welcome to the fascinating world of animal science. Surviving in the wild takes a little something extra. After all, it's a jungle out there. That's why some animals have special abilities to see, hear, and even taste the world in ways we can barely imagine. You might say they have a sixth sense. There are a lot of fish in the ocean, but with all that space to hide out, they're not always easy to find. But a master predator like the shark has special ways to track down its next meal. Take their amazing sense of smell. Sharks can detect a drop of blood in a body of water the size of an Olympic swimming pool. And they're not just following their noses.
They actually have scent receptors not only at the front of their nose, but along the side of their body as well, and taste receptors there as well.
That's why sharks sometimes bump before they bite. And that's not all. Sharks have a built-in radar system. All living creatures give off low-level electrical charges, and sharks have a sixth sense, the ability to detect those electrical fields. See those dark spots on the shark's face? It's a sensory network called the ampullae of Lorenzini. Those pores open up to gel-filled canals under the skin, filled with nerve fibers that conduct electrical impulses to the brain. Sharks aren't the only electroreceptors in the sea, but they're far and away the best. Animal Science Award. Sharks are about 5 million times more sensitive to electricity than humans are. Even a flip of a fin generates a charge big enough to show up on a shark's personal radar. That extra edge is what keeps sharks at the top of the underwater food chain. Dolphins have a remarkable ability to use sound to actually see underwater, using a skill called echolocation. Dolphins don't have vocal cords like people. They produce whistles and clicks using nasal air sacs located below their blowholes. With echolocation, dolphins use those noises to paint a picture. They send waves waves of sound through an area of fatty tissue in the forehead called a melon. When the sound waves hit something, like a boat or a school of fish, they bounce back, carrying information about the size, shape, movement, and distance of whatever it was they hit.
So the sound hits the lower jaw and travels up the lower jaw to the inner ear and then into the brain, where they're able to form a mental picture of whatever the object was that was in front of them.
Echolocation lets dolphins see by hearing, even in the dark. Now that's what you call using your melon. Butterflies are some of the most colorful creatures on Earth. Their wings are actually translucent. The colors and patterns come from thousands of tiny scales arranged in overlapping rows like shingles on a roof. Some are pigmented. Others create color by refracting light, like a rainbow. But there's more to a butterfly than meets our human eye. Butterflies have a super secret power. The ability to see ultraviolet colors. It's a whole spectrum beyond your ordinary red, blue, or yellow. UV light is invisible to the human eye. Flowers use ultraviolet colors and patterns to write hidden messages. And the James Bond of the insect world can read them.
To a human eye, the flowers just look pretty. Under UV light, a flower can look very different. They actually have almost like landing strips to let them know exactly where the nectar is. That is beneficial to the butterfly because then they know exactly which flowers they should be eating from.
So the next time you see a butterfly flutter by, remember, it sees a whole different world. And it's probably following an invisible ultraviolet roadmap to its next meal. Some animals just want to stay out of trouble. But secretly, they're packing quite a punch. If you leave them alone, they're as mild-mannered as Clark Kent. But challenge them and watch out. They may look as cuddly as a teddy bear, but even real bears know that skunks can make quite a stink. And that message couldn't be clearer.
Skunks have stripes because it's basically like a warning strip to let a predator know if you follow the strip from my head down to my tail, at the end of my tail is where you're going to get in trouble.
Under its tail, a skunk has glands that can spray an oily yellow liquid as far as 10 feet.
The skunk's spray. It's a smell that is a combination of rotten eggs with burnt rubber, with urine.
Skunks only carry a small supply of spray, and it takes up to 10 days to replenish. So they'll give you plenty of warning before cutting loose.
They will stomp their feet, they'll lift up their tail, they'll start backing into the person just as a forewarning. They really just want to use that spray as a last resort.
So if a skunk turns its back on you, just say, "Smell you later." Then turn your own tail and run. Meet the armadillo, a bright-eyed creature that looks like a cross between a turtle, an armored tank, and an accordion.
This is the regular skeleton of the animal. You can see that this part here is essentially the armor of the animal above the tops of the spine. Right between these 9 bands here is where it's flexible.
That's the accordion part. The armadillo's shoulders and hips are well protected, while the flexible bands let it twist and turn to its heart's content. An armadillo's only area of vulnerability is its unprotected underbelly. But most species of armadillos can shut down an attack by rolling themselves into a ball. Any animal looking for an easy snack could bust a tooth trying to bite down on a jawbreaker like this guy. stingray on the move is an awesome sight. Their wave-like motion makes it look like they're flying underwater. A stingray at rest, they'd rather blend in to hide from predators. But if threatened, the stingray's got a weapon that even makes sharks back off. A poisonous barb at the end of its tail, which it can swing over its head like a medieval weapon. The barb is shaped like a Christmas tree with serrated edges and a sharp point. But the only things underneath this tree are grooves filled with a protein-based venom.
They're bottom dwellers. So if a stingray were to get stepped on, that's when people usually end up getting injured by them. Normally, it's not life-threatening unless that barb is able to hit a vital organ like your heart or your lungs.
Stingrays don't want to be stepped on any more than you want to surprise them. To avoid any painful encounters, do the Stingray Shuffle. Drag your feet along the ocean floor. The rays will feel the vibrations and pack up to find a more private spot. When we return, we'll look at horses and zebras, members of the same family, but oh, so different. We'll find out why one was born to giddy up, while the other was born to be wild. You'll learn about the tricky climbing mechanics of the squirrel and how a 600-pound bear claws its way to the top. When we look at the best climbers on Animal Science.
Are your Medicare plan premiums going up? Would you like to find out if an Aetna Medicare Advantage plan could be the answer? Well, you're in luck because licensed Aetna agents are standing by to help make enrolling in a Medicare Advantage plan easy.
People often describe Medicare as stressful and confusing. So what have you found?
Oh, definitely. There's so many options, it makes it hard to compare.
I know.
And it's very time consuming, isn't it?
Yeah, and too many parts. Part A, Part B.
You're right. Does everyone know what part of Medicare we're talking about with Medicare Advantage?
Part C, right?
Yes. And many Part C Medicare Advantage plans also include Part D prescription drug coverage.
No, like I said, it's a lot of parts.
Oh, it makes it so confusing for me.
Believe me, I understand. That's why our focus today is on Medicare Advantage plans with prescription drug coverage. You might be able to get the things you need in one convenient plan. But first, let's get a clear understanding about Part C Medicare Advantage. Part C includes all of the coverage you get with original Medicare, but it's offered through private insurance companies like Aetna. Aetna Medicare Advantage plans provide hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage in one simple plan. Plans have added benefits for dental, hearing, and vision care, and also offer over-the-counter benefits. And Aetna has Medicare Advantage plans starting at a $0 monthly premium. Aetna Medicare Advantage plans have a firm limit on how much you pay for covered medical services each year.
Call 1-844-730-5702 for a free Medicare coverage assessment by a licensed Aetna agent. Aetna offers Medicare Advantage plans starting at $0 monthly premiums.
What if we all had someone we could trust who could provide guidance and support?
Oh, I'd like that.
Well, Aetna has licensed agents who can help simplify Medicare and assist with enrollment. And once you're enrolled, they'll help people like us get the most from our benefits. Their goal is to help you decide on Medicare coverage that's right for you.
Get the right Medicare plan for the whole you. Call our free Medicare helpline at 1-844-730-5702. For a free Medicare coverage assessment with a licensed Aetna Medicare agent, there is no obligation to enroll. When you call, your agent will help you determine the Medicare coverage that may be right for you. Annual enrollment for Medicare ends December 7th. We understand Medicare can be complicated and confusing, but our licensed agents are here to make it easier. The Medicare coverage assessment is free, so pick up the phone and call our free Medicare helpline at 1-844-730-5702. Or go to aetnamedicare.com/101. That's 1-844-730-5702.
Here's why you should switch from Chrome to DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo is a browser you download to your mobile and desktop devices. Unlike Chrome, the DuckDuckGo browser has privacy built in. It comes with a private alternative to Google search, which doesn't spy on your searches. And it blocks cookies and creepy ads. And there's no catch. It's free. We make money from ads, but they don't follow you around. Join the millions of people taking back their privacy by downloading DuckDuckGo on mobile and desktop today.
In 3 seconds, Pam will decide.
I'm moving closer to the grandkids. Wait, I gotta sell the house.
Don't wait. Just sell directly to Opendoor. Easy as pie.
Piece of cake.
Whichever. Get your competitive offer at opendoor.com.
Another beautiful day. Trying to take it to recipe. A bit of give and take. In life it is what you make it. Nothing ready can get to. A little bit of slow, a little bit of go, a little bit of high, a little bit of low. Live for the moment. Live for the time.
Surface, horses and zebras are equines with a lot in common. But horses have been working for a living for thousands of years, while zebras roam African plains and woodlands. Why is one domesticated while the other runs wild? Zebras and horses look a lot alike, and they're both part of the equine family. And it's a big family. Zebras have only 3 species, all found in Africa, but hundreds of breeds of horses can be found throughout the world. Bred for specific jobs over the centuries, horses vary tremendously in colors, shapes, and sizes, from small shaggy ponies to leggy thoroughbreds to giant-sized draft animals. But zebras aren't just horses that forgot to take off their striped pajamas. In fact, their differences are more than skin deep. Zebras have a different number of chromosomes, the cells carrying DNA, which contains their genetic blueprint. And those blueprints explain why horses get the rent paid, while zebras roam free. From tempers to tails, they're constructed differently. Zebras aren't adapted to the working life. For one thing, zebras aren't built for a saddle. Compared to a horse, a zebra has a shorter neck and back and a straighter spine.
The way the vertebrae are formed on the zebra, it's not as comfortable for the zebra to carry weight on its back.
A zebra's gait is choppier than a horse's, so it wouldn't be a smooth ride for a passenger either. Horses are generally better runners than zebras. They're sleeker and faster. That might be why they react differently to stress. In a fight-or-flight situation, both zebras and horses will flee as their first line of defense. But pushed into a corner, the zebra is more likely to fight back.
The zebra is much stronger in his neck. They fight with their feet and their mouths, so you can be injured very quickly.
That's not a quality you want in an equine companion. Domesticated animals need pleasant dispositions if they're going to hang around humans, which is why you're never going to see anyone walking a pet grizzly bear. Horses have coexisted with people for generations, but even a tame zebra is still a wild animal at heart. If the fast fastest animals on the planet held a race, it would be over before any of these guys even reached the starting line. When it comes to swimming, climbing, or even eating, their motto is, easy does it. The three-toed sloth moves at a top speed around 0.15 miles per hour, making it the slowest mammal on the planet. Animal Science Award. Sloths spend their lives just hanging out upside down in trees. The plant-eating sloth is so slow that other organisms set up camp in its fur.
Their bodies actually provide homes for cyanobacteria, which are a kind of photosynthesizing organisms. So essentially the sloth becomes a kind of forest, possibly by virtue of the fact that they don't move around very much.
Cyanobacteria give the sloth's fur a greenish tint, and it turns out there's an advantage to looking like a bunch of leaves. Camouflage.
Their major predators are visually hunting animals. If you have green all over, you may not be spotted when you're in the trees.
So if you're trying to catch up with a three-toed sloth, try looking in the last place you saw it. Chances are that sloth is still hanging around. If sloths are the slowest mammals on land, manatees take the water award. They float along at speeds as fast as 5 whole miles an hour. Hit the brakes, guys. To find food, they follow their whiskers. 2,000 stiff hairs called vibrissae, and they're as sensitive as a fingertip.
It helps them to feel where they are. It helps them for differentiating different kinds of plant material before they actually eat it. So they're more than just a regular whisker.
Because they're constantly grazing, manatees have been nicknamed sea cows. But their real kissing cousins? The elephant. What? You don't see the family resemblance?
A manatee's mouth actually has a lot of muscles in it. They use it to be able to pull plants and material into their mouths, very similar to how an elephant will use its trunk.
So maybe instead of a sea cow, manatees should be called water elephants. Kinda got a ring to it, don't you think? What if you had to eat the same exact meal day in and day out? That's how it is for koalas who live in eucalyptus forests in Australia. All their food and even their water comes from leaves and bark. And they have adapted to their unique diet in very special ways. Koalas have one of the slowest metabolisms of any mammal. Because there's so little nutrition in eucalyptus leaves, koalas conserve their energy by sleeping up to 18 hours a day. And then there are those great big noses.
They need to be able to have a very good sense of smell so they know they're eating the right plants so they don't poison themselves as they eat.
Did you say poison? That's right. Eucalyptus is toxic to most animals, but koalas stick to the less poisonous varieties. So if you ever invite a koala for dinner, be sure there's plenty of eucalyptus on the menu. And save a little time for that after-dinner nap. It'll probably last until lunch. When we come back, you'll learn about the tricky climbing mechanics of the squirrel and how a 600-pound bear claws its way to the top. When we look at the best climbers on Animal Science.
If you're watching this Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance commercial, there's a good chance that you're alive. And if you're not, well, this may not be of interest to you. Now, I know what you're thinking. Life insurance? I'm going to live forever. Death is what happens to other people. Well, for the sake of argument, let's assume you're wrong and that someday you won't be watching TV anymore. I know it's not easy to talk about, so I'll do the talking. If you're 50 plus and alive, you can apply for Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance with guaranteed acceptance, regardless of your health. And since this life insurance is guaranteed, you don't have to get a medical exam. In fact, you don't even have to fill out a health questionnaire. For a free quote, just call 800-442-1957. Then when you stop, if you stop watching TV, your family can use the insurance money to help cover your final expenses or anything else. For a free quote, call today, 800-442-1957. Your kids already inherited your ears, allergies, and questionable singing voice. Don't make them inherit your final expense tab, too.
Over 13 million Americans were affected by identity theft in 2022, and the threats go way beyond just credit card fraud. Today's identity thieves can use your information in ways that are easy to miss by just monitoring accounts and credit, like opening loans, transferring home titles, even committing crimes.
Someone got my social security number, made a driver's license, and it was used for criminal activity.
You can do so much with a social security number that I didn't know could happen. They drained my bank account. It was terrifying.
You're even more vulnerable than you realize. Your information is exposed through online shopping, banking, even corporate data breaches. No wonder there's a new victim of identity theft every 3 seconds. Only LifeLock alerts you to the widest volume of threats all in one place, like someone trying to use your social security number, open a new loan in your name, or even commit a crime in your name.
There was a big yes button and there was a big no button. I clicked, that's not me, and LifeLock took it from there.
If you become a victim of identity theft, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will be assigned to your case and work to fix the issue on your behalf.
If something happens, you have somebody fighting for you.
All LifeLock members are backed by the LifeLock $1 Million Protection Package, including reimbursement for stolen funds, personal expenses, and coverage for lawyers and experts up to $1 million. It can be dangerously easy to steal your identity. With LifeLock, it's easy to help protect yourself.
I will be with LifeLock forever.
Join the millions of people already protected by LifeLock. And for a limited time, save 25% on your first year with promo code 25TV. All plans include a 60-day money-back guarantee. Call 800-241-9240 or visit LifeLock.com/25TV to save 25% on your first year of identity theft protection. Enroll now.
We need a small business loan fast.
I got this.
Loan Cannon!
There's a better way to get a fast small business loan. Go to OnDeck.com, and if approved, get your funds as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Only the new Sleep Number smart beds let you both sleep at your ideal level of comfort, your Sleep Number setting. And now, all of our new next-gen smart beds have temperature benefits. The all-new Queen Sleep Number C2 smart bed is only $880. Sleep next level. Shop now, only at Sleep Number.
Takes a lot to reach the top, and these intrepid creatures aren't afraid to scale the heights. That's because they have the right equipment to take them all the way. Squirrels are the daredevils of the upper levels. They can be found on every continent except Antarctica. Where are they? Look up. They love a branch branch with a view. For most species of squirrel, half their length is their bushy tails, which help them steer and balance, the way gymnasts use their arms on a balance beam. The squirrel also has double-jointed hind legs. Doesn't sound impressive? Try it for yourself.
They can basically take their hind legs and rotate their feet around. It's the comparison to taking your feet and turning them so your feet are completely backwards while you're facing forwards.
The ability to turn its legs 180 degrees lets a squirrel scamper down a tree head first. That's what makes squirrels the top treetop acrobats. Black bears can fool you. They can weigh as much as 600 pounds, but like the tiny squirrel, they love to leave the ground behind.
Black bears are really known for climbing trees. It's a way to get up to leaves and berries and things that they want to eat. For cubs, it's a way to have safety.
Black bears have equipment that any mountain climber would envy. Each toe is topped with a powerful and non-retractable curved claw that lets them dig into the bark. Black bears are also excellent swimmers. If there's ever an animal triathlon with running, swimming, and tree climbing, bet on the black bears to win. They've got the right stuff. From Animal Science, see you next time.
Welcome to Awesome Planet. I'm Philippe Cousteau. And when you stand outside and look around, it can seem that the Earth is perfectly still. But actually, the planet is in constant motion, and in ways you can't even imagine.
The surface of the Earth is always moving. There are ground-shaking earthquakes, violent volcanoes, and enormous waves.
The water doesn't splash into my face at 65 miles per hour. Why is that?
Join me, Philippe Cousteau, as we explore how our world is in constant motion on Exploration Awesome Planet. The hard rock that forms the outer shell of planet Earth includes the surface of our continents and the floor of our oceans. And it's always on the move. This outer shell is broken up into sections called tectonic plates. These massive plates are always moving, and when they collide, the entire surface of our Earth is affected.
One of the results of these tectonic plates colliding can be the creation of mountain ranges. The Cascade Mountain Range is a perfect example. And as the plates continue to move, it can cause hot magma to rise and volcanoes like Mount St. Helens behind me to erupt.
Along the western edge of North America, the Cascade Mountains, which run 700 miles along the coast, were formed millions of years ago when two plates collided. Today, they continue to push up against each other. In 1980, this plate movement caused Mount St. Helens to literally blow her top. It was a catastrophe of historic proportions. Today, we're at the Mount St. Helens National Volcanic Monument, and we're joined by geologist Peter Frenzen. Across from this park, we have a clear view of Mount St. Helens. You can see the crater that remains from the devastating explosion.
What would you even call this? I don't even know if there's a proper word to explain a mountain exploding.
Well, the actual landslide would be called a debris avalanche, and then the blast itself is a lateral blast or a pyroclastic surge.
Pyroclastic surge. Pyroclastic surge, remember that word. That is a cool word. So that's what you would refer to as all of this soil and earth and magma. Was there magma as well? Or?
Right. This was basically gas-rich magma coming up to the surface. It had been trapped inside the volcano under enormous pressure, just like the pressure cooker you might be using to cook with. If the top flew off that pressure cooker, the side flew off Mount St. Helens, releasing that pressure, fragmenting the volcano, and blasting it across the landscape at more than 300 miles an hour.
We are directly over Mount St. Helens right now, and there is no question at all that the volcanic activity has begun. You can see smoke and ash pouring from the top of the mountain, especially on the north side of the mountain.
This volcanic explosion on the north side of Mount St. Helens created the largest landslide ever recorded, the result of a devastating blast that obliterated the surrounding area. The landslide instantly wiped out what was once a thick, mature forest, turning it into a barren landscape. Today, over 30 years later, you can still see the catastrophic effects of this event.
And looking around, I see some of these stumps. Is this all that's left?
That's right, the blast. Of course, we've had 35 years of decay here, but this is the shattered bottom of an old-growth tree that was blown apart by the cloud of fragmented rock and hot gases. The lateral blast basically tore this tree apart, and the fragmented parts of this tree became part of the blast cloud.
The landslide it caused covered 23 square miles at an average depth of 150 feet.
And it finally...
At a display here, you can see what the mountain looked like before the eruption. Now, it looks like this.
It's amazing to think that that much change of an entire landscape can happen in a matter of minutes.
Literally minutes.
Literally minutes. 3 minutes for that lateral blast, 10 minutes for that landslide to go 14 miles down the valley, and then 9 hours of ash eruption, and it was over.
As our planet's tectonic plates continue to move and grind against each other, friction and pressure build. And you can never rule out the possibility of another volcanic eruption, just like Mount St. Helens.
You can see smoke and ash pouring from the top of the mountain, especially...
Coming up, the San Andreas Fault has the power to obliterate entire cities in California.
IRS. 3 letters that strike fear into everyone, and for good reason. The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth, and being in debt to the IRS can have serious consequences. Oftentimes, it begins with the IRS sending you a collection letter, but then escalates. And before you know it, you're having your paychecks garnished, your bank account seized, even your home or business could be at risk.
I owed the IRS $12,439. I was receiving telephone calls. I was receiving letters from the IRS. I was scared.
I had a good job. I was a substitute teacher. Then I got laid off. I owed the IRS $14,000. When you owe the IRS $14,000, you know that they are coming for their money.
Well, basically, we went to an independent tax person, have our taxes done and everything. Evidently, our taxes weren't done right.
These stories are all too common. But thankfully, there's Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 most trusted tax relief firm. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. And if you're in trouble with the IRS, they can help you too.
I didn't know what I was going to do. I was up against a wall. I had no solution. Luckily, I came across Optima Tax Relief, and when I saw the A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, I knew that this was the company for me.
The final action was they said we owed roughly about $16,300. And on our income, we can't come up with this money. How are we going to do this? And my wife called Optima Tax. Almost immediately, it was life-changing for us.
I needed somebody to make me feel like they were there for me, that they were going to fight for me. I picked up the phone, called Optima Tax Relief. They guaranteed me that they were going to help me out the best that they can. And they did.
Why go it alone when you can have the tax experts at Optima on your side? They specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that could save you thousands if you qualify. A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau, Optima has been honored with numerous awards for delivering unparalleled customer service and results for their clients.
I would have called Optima Tax Relief a lot sooner if I'd have known how good they were. They're the best in the business.
I owed the IRS $12,439, and now I am debt-free. Thank you, Optima Tax.
Hey, if you were in a situation like me, you feel behind on your taxes, there is a solution. And the solution is Optima Tax Relief.
So don't wait. Today you have options. Tomorrow you might not. Optima's tax professionals are standing by, ready to help you now.
For your free consultation, call 800-773-4817. 800-773-4817. That's 800-773-4817.
Optima Tax Relief.
Are you or a loved one between the ages of 50 to 80 years old? If you are younger than 80 years old, do you receive Social Security, disability, or Medicare? If you answered yes, you may qualify for $30,000 in funeral insurance for only pennies a day. The average funeral costs around $11,000, and Social Security only pays $255, leaving your loved ones to pay the balance. Call now to see if you qualify for $30,000 in funeral expense coverage from Senior Legacy Life. Your rate will never increase. Your benefits will never decrease, and there is no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing disease or illness. Don't be a financial burden to your family. Lock in your rate by completing an application over the phone right now. Will you qualify for funeral insurance up to $30,000 for only pennies a day? Find out by calling Senior Legacy Life.
Call 1-800-500-1154 to speak with a licensed insurance agent. That's 1-800-500-1154.
1 in 4 Americans today are living with a disability. I'm one of them. People with disabilities are extremely talented, resilient problem solvers that have so much to offer. And we've got a trusted ally on our side, an organization we can rely on. Easter Seals. Easter Seals is leading the way to full equity, inclusion, and access to healthcare, employment, and education for people with disabilities, families, and communities. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours.
So far, we've addressed some of the results of when two tectonic plates collide. It can cause mountain ranges to rise and violent eruptions as well. But these plates never stop moving, and the effects can be far-reaching.
The movement of Earth's crust often creates cracks and faults, and sometimes these fractures can run for hundreds of miles. In the state of California, there's a fault line that extends 810 miles. This fault is caused by the North American plate sliding against the Pacific plate. It's called the San Andreas Fault. As these two plates grind past each other, it can cause tremors and earthquakes.
You've got a transform boundary like the San Andreas Fault where the plates are pushing against each other sideways, and you can get major earthquakes forming. And that's just when the crust builds up stress and then releases that stress.
I've seen people who explain it as kind of you're pushing, or maybe pushing two hands together, you're pushing, and then finally it slips, and that releases energy.
That's right. It breaks and can have really devastating effects.
On April 18th, 1906, along the San Andreas Fault, a major earthquake shook the city of San Francisco, demolishing buildings, rupturing gas mains, and causing devastating fires. It was the world's first major natural disaster to have been recorded by photography. Today, San Francisco has been completely rebuilt, but the threat from the San Andreas Fault still looms over the city. The earthquake of 1906 occurred before the invention of the Richter scale, but it's been estimated that it would have registered 7.8. When and where the next big one will occur is impossible to predict. Tectonic plates can cause great destruction, but they also have the power to create breathtaking beauty. Most mountain ranges are created along the boundaries where two tectonic plates meet. The Himalayas, for example, were created close to where the Eurasian and Indian plates converge. But what about the Colorado Rocky Mountains? These mountains are over 1,000 miles from the nearest tectonic boundary, which is where the North American and Pacific plates meet. And to explain how the Rockies were formed, we need to understand how these collisions create mountains in the first place.
I've heard it referred to as pushing a rug forward. It kind of buckles up a fold in that rug and lifts an area. Same kind of thing happening?
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. As those plates are coming together, they're pushing on each other as one goes beneath, and so that buckles that crust, just like a rug.
According to geologists, the Rocky Mountains are a result of the same buckling effect, but just a lot further inland. From beautiful mountains to devastating earthquakes, there are clear signs that the solid land we call Earth is always in motion. Up next, wind and water are two of the most powerful forces on Earth, and when they combine, the results can be disastrous.
I used to think all doctors were the same. Then I switched to Oak Street Health. You see, this isn't your typical doctor's office. Instead of waiting around for me to get sick, they focus on keeping me healthy and feeling good. Hey, still got it.
Zion. No sugar, right?
And the best part, everyone at Oak Street Health is experienced with people my age.
At Oak Street Health, we specialize in caring for older adults like you with a focus on keeping you healthy. So don't wait. Call today.
Zion, we're ready for you.
Here people get to know me the old-fashioned way.
By listening.
This guy takes all the notes, so my doctor is all eyes on me, and I'm never rushed out.
Ready to go?
We get to know you better with longer appointment times, including same-day and next-day appointments.
Everyone gets their own personal care team. And whether it's doctors, nurses, social workers, mental health support, even someone to help me understand my Medicare benefits, they all work together for me, myself, and I. Not to mention a 24/7 patient support line.
We customized a plan for him, and we can do the same for you.
Getting the care you need has never been easier because our team members work together to handle all your healthcare needs.
And you get all this with no extra cost. They even gather all your medical records and health history. So switching to their doctors is easy. And you can keep living your life your way.
At Oak Street Health, we specialize in caring for older adults like you. Call 855-262-2935 to schedule a visit and see why we are the only primary care provider to carry the AARP name. Oak Street Health.
If you're on supplemental oxygen, heavy and awkward tanks are a burden. Now you can leave home and leave the tanks behind with Inogen One, the portable oxygen concentrator you can take almost anywhere.
With my Inogen One, now I'm able to do the things that I've always loved. I just press the button here, and there's my oxygen. This little box changed my life. I can now do all those things that I want to do.
The Inogen One creates portable oxygen from the air around you. When you have an Inogen, you can get back to living your life again.
I love this, and I love my Inogen because it lets me see this.
The Inogen One is so small and light, you're free to leave the house without the hassles of an oxygen tank.
I could play golf again. I could go grocery shopping. I'm free again.
With the Inogen, I can handle my own oxygen. I can carry my own oxygen. I go anywhere with this. Look how small it is.
And right now, you can try an Inogen One for 30 days completely risk-free. Give us a call right now. We'll answer all your questions. We'll send you an information guide. And if you qualify, we'll send you an Inogen One system to use for 30 days completely risk-free.
I took a 10-day, 3,000-mile road trip with my trusty Inogen. I always call it my trusty Inogen. I do trust it.
This gives me the oxygen that the doctor prescribed for me.
You can continue to drag heavy and awkward oxygen tanks when you leave the house, or use the latest in medical technology to get the oxygen your doctor prescribed anytime you leave home. So give us a call and try an Inogen One system for your very own for 30 days, completely risk-free. Your insurance may even cover your new Inogen One system.
If you're on oxygen, you need to be using an Inogen.
This Inogen really works. You got to get off the couch and get one.
Wouldn't you rather have this than a tank? Really?
Pick up the phone, call the Inogen company. They're going to take care of you.
Call 1-800-917-0870. That's 1-800-917-0870. Or visit Inogen.com.
Last year, I got stuck paying for my ex's internet for months before I finally caught it. That won't happen this year, thanks to Rocket Money. Rocket Money finds hidden subscriptions, and you can cancel the ones you don't want with one tap. Join Rocket Money today.
Welcome back to Awesome Planet. I'm Philippe Cousteau. As we've seen, Earth's crust is broken up into tectonic plates that are constantly on the move. And yet, oftentimes, that movement can be hard to detect. Well, there's another powerful force on this planet whose movements are quite obvious.
In the ocean, waves are generated by wind. And every surfer has experienced the incredible power of water. When winds are extreme, water can invade low-lying areas and cause great destruction. River currents can be just as powerful as they rush towards lower ground. Water flows over the famous Niagara Falls at 100,000 cubic feet per second. Clearly, there are times when the movement of water can be dramatic. But water also moves in ways we can't even see, such as when it evaporates into our atmosphere. To help us better understand the movement of water, we're meeting with Daniel Ritzkopf, a professor at Duke University who teaches marine science and conservation. Today, we're at the Mattamuskeet National Wildlife Refuge in North Carolina, home to the largest lake in the state.
So, Daniel, when water does evaporate, how far away does it go? Does it just evaporate out of this lake up into the sky and fall right back down? Or is it traveling a greater distance?
Well, some of the water here comes back down in Europe.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, the entire Atlantic Ocean. So water can travel up in the atmosphere quite a distance then.
What determines where it comes down is when it reaches a point where it precipitates.
When rising water vapor cools in our atmosphere, it forms water droplets. And when enough water droplets gather, they form clouds. When the drops get heavy, they begin to fall due to gravity. The rain replenishes our rivers and oceans. Then, sunshine warms the water, some of it evaporates, and so the water cycle continues. Oceans cover 71% of our planet, and they're constantly moving. Their currents are like vast rivers, flowing thousands of miles across the world. This animation, based on data gathered by NASA satellites, shows swirling flows of tens of thousands of ocean currents. The greatest movement occurs when the sun warms water near the equator. This warm water flows along the surface toward the polar regions, and when the water cools, it sinks and flows all the way back to the equator. all the water on Earth is salt water. Fresh water makes up just 2.5% of global water. Our fresh water comes in the form of glaciers, lakes, and rivers. Rivers, like the Mississippi, can travel thousands of miles. The source of water for these rivers is either rain or snowmelt.
And then that water, once it gets to the ground, follows the path of least resistance to the ocean.
And so it'll be perhaps little trickles at first that'll congregate into streams and tributaries and rivers and make its way until it reaches the ocean.
And if you want to look at a really interesting place, look at the Grand Canyon, because you can see water is carved through millions of years.
The Grand Canyon is the ultimate example of the power of water. This canyon is a mile deep, 277 miles long, and in some areas, 18 miles wide, all carved over time by water. Water is constantly flowing and circulating and evaporating. And get this, because our water keeps recycling, the water you drink today is the same water that existed when dinosaurs roamed the earth. Can you imagine that? With the use of time-lapse photography, you can really see how our planet is moving all the time. It's especially obvious on a clear night as the stars in the sky pass overhead.
Welcome back to Awesome Planet. Now, so far, we've explored the dynamic movement of both land and water on the surface of Earth. But that's nothing when you consider how fast the entire planet is hurtling through space.
Planet Earth might not appear to be spinning, but it is. Over the course of 24 hours, our planet makes one complete rotation, which is how we define a single day. At the equator, the Earth rotates at a speed of over 1,000 miles an hour. Furthermore, our planet is orbiting around the sun at the speed of 67,000 miles an hour. One complete orbit takes 365 days.
All this motion that we see, the motion of the Earth and the motion in our solar system, all comes from one source. And that source is how the solar system itself formed. We started with a giant cloud of gas and dust, a nebula, and that nebula started moving, and as it started moving faster and faster, it collapsed into a disk. At the center of that disk, the sun formed, and out in the outer areas, the planets formed one by one. So as the disk collapsed, just like a figure skater who tucks in her arms and starts spinning faster, everything started spinning faster and faster. So the origin of the Earth's rotation comes from the collapse of the nebula that created the solar system.
So our planet is spinning, and at the same time, it's orbiting around the sun. But consider this. Our solar system, which includes the sun and the 8 planets orbiting it, is also moving at extreme speeds. Our solar system is located in the Milky Way galaxy, which contains billions of other stars. And it's estimated that our solar system is rotating around the galaxy's center at 490,000 miles per hour. Yet during our daily lives, we can't even tell that our planet is moving at all. Wonder why? The simple answer is that everything is relative.
So we're moving in a car at about 65 miles per hour. But as I pour water into this cup, the water doesn't splash into my face at 65 miles per hour. Why is that? Well, because we're all moving at the same speed, so it feels like we're not moving at all. Think about flying in a jumbo jet. Movement at about 400 to 500 miles per hour. As long as the flight is smooth and the speed is constant, the same rules apply. So even when you're standing still and it feels like you're not moving at all, you are still hurtling through space at almost unimaginable speeds. You just don't know it because movement is relative.
Many years ago, when people would look up into the night sky and see the stars changing positions, they assumed that our planet was perfectly still and that the heavens were moving around us.
The fact that we don't feel the Earth moving was one of the objections Aristotle had about the Earth actually not moving and being stationary at the center of the universe. He argued that if the Earth was in fact moving, that the birds and the clouds would be left behind. And it took about 2,000 years for Galileo to come by and say, no, objects that are in motion together will appear to be at rest with respect to each other. And we realized, no, that the Earth could be moving and we simply wouldn't feel it.
Protected by our atmosphere and grounded by gravity, it's understandable why people once believed that our world wasn't moving. But the truth is, we're all passengers on the biggest ride imaginable, planet Earth.
In our daily lives, it's pretty easy to forget the incredible raw power of this planet. And yet, all it takes is a volcano erupting or an earthquake to remind us of the destructive forces that exist beneath the surface. Mount St. Helens was a perfect example. But of course, it's not just on land. As I look out over the surface of the ocean, I'm reminded of the dynamic forces that exist, be it the power of the waves or the dynamic motion of the tides. It is an endless force that continues to shape the very surface of this planet. But not only that, Earth itself is hurtling through space at incredible speeds as it orbits the sun. And yet, as we go through our daily routines, it's easy to forget that our planet is in constant motion. That's it for this week on Awesome Planet. I'm Philippe Cousteau, and we'll see you next time. Canadian Rockies cut straight through Western Canada, creating some of the most awe-inspiring landscape imaginable. And today on Awesome Planet, we've come to Alberta, Canada, to explore two truly majestic national parks.
This is nature at its finest, with amazing wildlife and magnificent glaciers.
Woo! That would be a wild ride. If I did go down, it'd be my last.
Join me, Philippe Cousteau, as we explore the pure wonders of the Canadian Rockies on Exploration Awesome Planet.
Welcome to Awesome Planet. I'm Philippe Cousteau. Banff National Park covers 2,500 square miles of spectacular landscape in Alberta, Canada. And right at the center of it lies a pristine lake that people from all over the world travel to visit.
High up in the Canadian Rockies, there's a stately resort called the Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise. It sits on the shoreline of this gorgeous emerald green lake. Lake Louise is like a well-placed jewel amidst the Rocky Mountains.
Oh, look at you.
Now this is the view. You were not kidding, my goodness gracious.
This is all right if you like that sort of thing.
Where does all this water come from?
This is glacier fed by 6 different glaciers, but primarily by one called the Lower Victoria Glacier.
Mm-hmm. And where can we see that from here?
We can see 2 of the primary glaciers here. You can see the Upper Victoria Glacier hanging on the cliffs and drop straight down. You see what looks like a flat, dirty gravel pile coming at us. That's the Lower Victoria Glacier. And underneath that dirt is probably 600 feet of ice.
Wow. And all that water comes down into here, Lake Louise.
Yeah.
Wow. So are we going to have an opportunity to actually get out on the lake?
I think you haven't visited Lake Louise till you canoe on Lake Louise.
Well, lead the way then. I'm excited. I'm thrilled. Fantastic.
on the lake. Oh yeah, it's so nice on the lake today. Hardly a ripple on this thing.
It is a spectacular sight.
Lake Louise's fame stretches back over 100 years. What distinguishes the lake is its unusual color, which is due to glacier melt.
Glaciers only melt in the summer, and they bring in tons of what looks like chocolate milk. It's called rock flour. It's formed underneath the glaciers, and it deposits that in these lakes. And as sunlight tries to go through the silt, all the colors of the spectrum are refracted or absorbed except this one.
Located in the province of Alberta, Banff was the first national park in Canada. Besides canoeing on Lake Louise, it's also a popular destination for mountain climbers. And some of the majestic glaciers are accessible to the public. Unfortunately, these glaciers may not be around much longer.
There's a lot of concern about how fast these glaciers are melting, receding.
And glaciers come and go. There are cycles to glaciation, but the glaciers here in the Canadian Rockies are pulling back anywhere from 20 to 50 feet, depending on the season. So right now, the glaciers seem to be melting very quickly here.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. And the thing about the Canadian Rockies is that we're the watering can of the breadbasket of Canada. We, in melting snow and ice, water the prairies from here and grow a lot of wheat, more wheat than we can eat in this country, so we ship it out. So eventually, if the glaciers recede to a point that they can't replace that, then rivers like the Bow River, which 1.5 million Albertans rely on, might become somewhat drier in the summer.
And that's a problem.
And that could be a potential problem.
We need water.
Yeah, we need water.
Looming above Lake Louise is Mount Victoria. It's named after Queen Victoria, who reigned over the British Empire during the 1800s. And the lake was named after the fourth daughter of the Queen, Princess Louise Caroline Alberta. Ever since this national park was established in 1885, its natural beauty has been largely preserved.
Here's the thing about the Canadian Rockies that is really one of the most amazing things about the place, is that there are 7 parks here, all tied together, not just one. There's Banff, Jasper, Yoho, Kootenay, Robson, Hamber, and Assiniboine.
Goodness.
If you add it up, it's the second largest protected mountain landscape on Earth, right here.
Well, there's no question that this whole area is special to the planet. Seeing it like this for the first time, and for us, this is just the beginning. Seeing this place is a taste of what's to come, and I, for one, can't wait. Welcome back to Awesome Planet. You know, the power of glaciers is literally all around us. I mean, the relentless grinding ice carved out these valleys and mountains and lakes to create the majestic landscape that we enjoy today. And so we're headed further north to Jasper National Park to visit glaciers and an ice field whose impact is not only felt locally, but remarkably extends all the way to the Atlantic Ocean.
When you travel through the Canadian Rockies, you can sometimes spot glaciers high up in the mountains. Ever wonder what it's like to see one up close? Today, we're doing just that. Along with the guide, we're hiking up one of the glaciers here at Jasper National Park. This is one of 6 glaciers fed by the Columbia Icefield, the largest ice field in the Rockies.
Tell me why this is such a significant area.
So we're on a very small part of the Columbia Icefield. But if you were to go from here onto the ice field, you could head up onto this plateau that's about 20 kilometers and 200 square kilometers in extent. But its claim to fame is that waters from there, or snow and ice, flows towards 3 different oceans.
This ice field supplies water to the Pacific Ocean, the Arctic Ocean, and believe it or not, the Atlantic Ocean. From the Canadian Rockies, glaciers feed into the Saskatchewan River, which then flows past Edmonton all the way out to Lake Winnipeg, then the Hudson Bay, and eventually the Atlantic Ocean.
I mean, here we are in Alberta, Western Canada. To think that you could follow a drop of water on the eastern side all the way through Hudson Bay into the North Atlantic. I mean, it boggles the mind when you really think of the scope and scale of nature.
Glaciers are a critical source of fresh water throughout the world. In the spring, as glaciers begin to melt, they send water down the mountains. This meltwater also carves out dangerous crevasses on the glacier's surface.
Okay, Philippe.
All right.
And sometimes, those crevasses can run hundreds of feet deep.
And then take a look.
That would be a wild ride if I did go down. It'd be my last. It's absolutely spectacular.
Ever since the Industrial Revolution, glaciers throughout the world have been shrinking at an increased rate. It's an alarming trend. Glaciers make up nearly 70% of our world's freshwater supply. Decreases in fresh water have catastrophic effects on the survival of creatures around the world, including humans.
Oh, look at this.
According to Peter, this glacier is losing 20 feet with each passing year. Aerial photos taken 7 years apart show just how quickly this glacier has melted.
What are some of the causes of these glaciers melting so quickly?
The rate of recession can only be explained if you factor in human activity. It's really quite clear.
It's very clear.
What I've learned more in the last 30 years is what people choose to believe. You know?
Absolutely. Wishful thinking supplants science all too often.
Oh, yeah.
For most people, glaciers are out of sight and out of mind. But fossil fuel energy is contributing to the warming of our climate, which in turn affects our glaciers. In talking with Peter, I've realized something quite ironic. These glaciers, which appear to be so isolated from the rest of the world, are actually connected to everything and everyone. So anything we can do to lessen the impact on glaciers is critical. Up next, we'll take a look at the beautiful woodland caribou, an endangered animal that relies on the Canadian Rockies as a safe haven.
IRS. 3 letters that strike fear into everyone, and for good reason. The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth, and being in debt to the IRS can have serious consequences. Oftentimes, it begins with the IRS sending you a collection letter, but then escalates. And before you know it, you're having your paychecks garnished, your bank account seized, even your home or business could be at risk.
I owed the IRS $12,439. I was receiving telephone calls. I was receiving letters from the IRS. I was scared.
I had a good job. I was a substitute teacher. Then I got laid off. I owe the IRS $14,000. When you owe the IRS $14,000, you know that they are coming for their money.
Well, basically, we went to an independent tax person, have our taxes done and everything. Evidently, our taxes weren't done right.
These stories are all too common. But thankfully, there's Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 most trusted tax relief firm. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. And if you're in trouble with the IRS, they can help you too.
I didn't know what I was going to do. I was up against a wall. I had no solution. Luckily, I came across Optima Tax Relief, and when I saw the A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, I knew that this was the company for me.
The final action was they said we owed roughly about $16,300. And on our income, we can't come up with this money. How are we going to do this? And my wife called Optima Tax. Almost immediately, it was life-changing for us.
I needed somebody to make me feel like they were there for me, that they were going to fight for me. I picked up the phone, called Optima Tax Relief. They guaranteed me that they were going to help me out the best that they can. And they did.
Why go it alone when you can have the tax experts at Optima on your side? They specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that could save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, Optima has been honored with numerous awards for delivering unparalleled customer service and results for their clients.
I would have called Optima Tax Relief a lot sooner if I'd have known how good they were. They're the best in the business.
I owed the IRS $12,439, and now I am debt-free. Thank you, Optima Tax.
Hey, if you were in a situation like me, you feel behind on your taxes, there is a solution. And the solution is Optima Tax Relief.
So don't wait. Today you have options. Tomorrow you might not. Optima's tax professionals are standing by, ready to help you now.
For your free consultation, call 800-773-4817. 800-773-4817. That's 800-773-4817.
Optima Tax Relief.
Are you or a loved one between the ages of 50 to 80 years old? If you are younger than 80 years old, do you receive Social Security, disability, or Medicare? If you answered yes, you may qualify for $30,000 in funeral insurance for only pennies a day. The average funeral costs around $11,000, and Social Security only pays $255, leaving your loved ones balance. Call now to see if you qualify for $30,000 in funeral expense coverage from Senior Legacy Life. Your rate will never increase, your benefits will never decrease, and there is no medical exam, even if you have your illness. Don't be a financial burden to your family. Lock in your rate by completing an application over the phone right now. Will you qualify for funeral insurance at $30,000 for only pennies a day? Find out by calling Senior Legacy Life.
Call 1-800-500-1154 to speak with a licensed insurance agent. That's 1-800-500-1154.
Welcome back to Awesome Planet. I'm Philippe Cousteau. For animals, surviving the harsh winters in the Canadian Rockies is one thing. Surviving the impacts of humans is an altogether different challenge. As we'll see for the endangered woodland caribou, adapting to the cold temperatures, well, that was the easy part.
At Jasper National Park, there are 4 separate herds of woodland caribou. It's been estimated that there are only 155 of these caribou left here, and their numbers continue to decrease.
Why are there so few of them here in this area of the park?
Well, outside of the parks, one of the biggest threats is habitat loss. They need the old growth forest or the alpine areas. And
what's causing that habitat loss?
Everything from different commercial developments, from logging or oil and gas. The actual range of woodland caribou has moved northward, and a lot of that has just been the encroachment of people living in these areas.
While these caribous can feed on shrubs and grasses, their primary source of nourishment is lichen.
That's 90% of their diet in winter. That's basically all they eat.
Caribou have the particular ability to digest and extract nutrients from lichen. That's what makes them unique.
They actually have an enzyme in their stomach called lichenase, which allows them to digest that. So they're one of the only large mammals that can survive on lichen as a food source.
One of the best methods for monitoring the population of these herds is by collecting their scat.
I actually brought some caribou scat.
Really? It's not every day that you get to see caribou poop, or scat as the proper term is. So this is a special treat.
Kind of like chocolate-covered raisins.
Chocolate-covered raisins.
When you collect it, when it's still frozen, it has a layer of mucus on it, and that has DNA.
So when it's frozen in the snow, that's preserved.
Yep.
Goodness gracious, you sold me on poop collection. I'm in. I'm ready to do this now. Okay.
And by providing a protected environment at Jasper, the hope is that the woodland caribou population will increase. It would be a tragedy to lose these iconic animals.
All right, so Brenda is right up this hill.
This is where you leave
for
me.
you.
Well, thank you,
After
Shelley.
meeting with Shelley, she directs me to another national park. The beautiful forests are being damaged by an invasive species. There's one type of tree in particular that's been devastated.
Brenda,
Hey, Philippe.
how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm excellent.
Good.
What a fantastic day.
It is.
Well, I see you all got a lot of gear going on here. And ropes
I
and a
am.
ladder. What's happening?
I've just been tree climbing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That sounds like fun.
It is.
Nice,
It is. It's fun. And
Nice afternoon to do it. What's the purpose? What's happening?
This is the white bark pine tree.
Okay.
And it's an endangered species in Jasper National Park. And even though there aren't very many white barks, they're really important. They're an important food source for grizzly bears and its favorite friend, the Clark's nutcracker.
A fungus called blister rust of the white bark pine trees. Fortunately, there are a few of these trees that have been resistant to the disease. These are the trees that Brenda is interested in.
If you can reach me, if you climb partway up, then I'll grab that cage from you.
Brenda is using a cage to put over the pine cones. This is to protect them from the Clark's nutcracker. The Clark's nutcracker is known for taking seeds from the pine cones and then hiding them to be dug up later as food during the winter. Protecting the pine cones allows the seeds to mature. Then, when the time Brenda will remove the cones and take them to a nursery to grow new trees. The idea is that seedlings from healthy trees are more apt to survive.
So this is the second year that we've been collecting seeds. It takes 2 years to grow out seedlings, and after 2 years we can plant those in the ground. So if we really want to make a difference, we've probably got to be planting thousands of trees in the future per year.
Well, hopefully this will grow exponentially over the years.
That's right. I hope so too.
Oh my goodness, how exciting. All right.
It's inspiring to see innovation and ingenuity being used to help restore this fantastic landscape. Like the pristine lakes and breathtaking glaciers, the white bark pine trees and the woodland caribou are the kinds of spectacular plants and animals that make the Canadian Rockies such a national treasure. When we come back, we'll uncover ancient artifacts.
Look at these goodies. Wow.
These tools were used by our ancestors thousands of years ago.
Then I switched to Oak Street Health. You see, this isn't your typical doctor's office. Instead of waiting around for me to get sick, they focus on keeping me healthy and feeling good. Hey, hey! Still got it.
Zion. No sugar, right?
And the best part, everyone at Oak Street Health is experienced with people my age.
At Oak Street Health, we specialize in caring for older adults like you with a focus on keeping you healthy. So don't wait. Call today.
Zion, we're ready for you.
Here people get to know me the old-fashioned way.
By listening.
This guy takes all the notes, so my doctor is all eyes on me, and I'm never rushed out.
Ready to go?
We get to know you better with longer appointment times, including same-day and next-day appointments.
Everyone gets their own personal care team. Hey, whether it's doctors, nurses, social workers, mental health support, even someone to help me understand my Medicare benefits, they all work together for me, myself, and I. Not to mention a 24/7 patient support line.
We customized a plan for him, and we can do the same for you.
Getting the care you need has never been easier because our team members work together to handle all your healthcare needs.
And you get all this with no extra cost. They even gather all your medical records and health history. So switching to their doctors is easy. And you can keep living your life your way.
At Oak Street Health, we specialize in caring for older adults like you. Call 855-262-2935 to schedule a visit and see why we are the only primary care provider to carry the AARP name. Oak Street Health.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What is the dumbest thing you've ever wasted money on?
I was paying for 2 Netflix accounts over like 3 years.
That's like $1,400,000. How'd you figure that out?
I saw an app that shows you all the monthly subscriptions you have and how much you're paying.
So what'd you do then? Just like call and cancel, or?
I have a phobia of making calls, so absolutely I did not do that. The app, you can cancel the app.
What is the app called?
Rocket Money.
Over 13 million Americans were affected by identity theft in 2022. And the threats go way beyond just credit card fraud. Today's identity thieves can open loans, transfer home titles, and even commit crimes in your name.
Someone got my social security number, made a driver's license, and it was used for criminal activity.
Your information is exposed through online shopping, banking, even corporate data breaches. No wonder there's a new victim of identity theft every 3 seconds. Only LifeLock alerts you to the widest volume of threats all in one place.
I clicked, "That's not me," and LifeLock took it from there.
If you become a victim, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix the issue. All LifeLock members are backed by the LifeLock $1 Million Protection Package, including reimbursement for stolen funds.
I will be with LifeLock forever.
Enrollment takes just minutes. Call now or go online and use promo code GET25 to save 25% on your first year. Enroll now.
Welcome back to Awesome Planet. You know, for 10,000 years, human beings have traveled and explored the lands of Banff and Jasper National Parks. And through painstaking research, archaeologists have uncovered artifacts that have allowed them to trace the history of humans here going back for millennia.
During the construction of the Trans-Canada Highway, Banff National Park became much more accessible. Ever since, archaeologists area. The deeper time they went.
I think it was partly because I went to...
Lynn Langeman joins us at the beautiful...
Tell me a little bit about the work that you're doing of digging into that past and getting a sense of the historical nature.
In the national parks because of the wilderness and the wilderness experience, but what they forget is that it really never has been a wilderness. People have been living here for the last 13,000 years, ever since the glaciers first retreated and opened up the landscape.
After the last ice age, when the glaciers receded, what remained was a beautiful landscape of green grass meadows, freshwater lakes, and dense alpine forests. This ecosystem supported a wide variety of plants and animals, and became an enticing place for our ancestors to live.
Look at these goodies. Wow.
Gwyn has brought several samples of the tools used by the earliest inhabitants, such as this spearhead.
This is broken, so you can imagine that this would have been about this big to start with, but it's a spear point. It's got a little socket here that would have been hafted into the shaft, and the point coming up here. So these are the style that's kind of 8,000 to 9,000 years old that you find around here.
Cool. It gives me goosebumps thinking that this is something that was literally a tool that could mean the difference between life and death for someone. It's almost humbling to think that with all of our technological advances that this was that important to human beings.
One animal that provided both food and clothing for the natives was the bison. Back Back then, can you imagine the challenge of taking down an angry 2,000-pound bison?
What are some of the, oh,
But
that?
then later on, technology changes. So you start off with spears, and then about 8,000 years ago, people figured out how to do something that gave you a little more throwing advantage with these notched points on the end of it. And you have an atlatl, which is like a throwing spear, but with an extra joint in it, so that you get double the throwing advantage.
I've seen bison very close, up close, as I'm sure you have. I have to throw a lot of these at angry bison to really do damage to them.
Thousands of years later, spears were replaced with the bow and arrow, which provided more power and accuracy. This revolutionized the art of hunting. Finding a used arrowhead from that time is pretty amazing.
The last technology change was when the bow and arrow developed, and that was about 2,000 years ago. I brought this one to show you that sometimes, you know, it's about function, but sometimes it's about beauty too, because this is made out of a quartz crystal.
It's not hard to imagine what it looked like here 10,000 years ago. And that's because this land has been so well preserved.
I don't think so much from the hunting.
And thanks to the tireless work of archaeologists, we're just beginning to understand how our lived.
Growing up, I've heard so much about Banff and Jasper National Parks. They have always been this amazing place I've wanted to visit, and starting out the trip here in Lake Louise certainly did not disappoint. What a spectacular place, a glacier-fed lake, not just one, but 6 glaciers feeding water into this incredible place. And speaking of glaciers, to visit the Columbia ice fields, 200 square kilometers, and the water from which ultimately ends up in 3 different oceans. Such a reminder of the interconnected nature of our planet. Now, we've only scratched the surface here in Banff and Jasper National Parks, but I can imagine that even if you spent an entire lifetime in this part of the world, you would still discover something new every day. That's it for this week on Awesome Planet. I'm Philippe Cousteau, and we'll see you next time.